उपस्थित सर्वांचं स्वागत. आपल्या सगळ्यांना या गोष्टीची कल्पना आहेच की ERP औद्योगिक प्रदर्शन 2026 आजपासून सुरू झालं. काही वेळापूर्वीच त्याचं औपचारिक उद्घाटन होऊन उद्घाटनीय समारंभ देखील याच ऑडिटोरियममध्ये झाला होता. खरं तर हे एक आगळं वेगळं प्रदर्शन आहे. अनेक औद्योगिक प्रदर्शनं आपण पाहिली असतील, त्यात सहभागी झाला असाल, परंतु बदलत्या काळाचा वेध घेणारं आणि त्यातही सर्वात महत्त्वाचं म्हणजे उद्योगांची आजची गरज लक्षात घेऊन ज्या अत्यंत आवश्यक नितांत गरजेच्या उद्योगांसाठीच्या गोष्टी आहेत, त्यामधली एक अत्यंत महत्त्वाची म्हणजे डिजिटल किंवा AI तंत्रज्ञानाचा वापर ही अत्यंत महत्त्वाची गोष्ट आहे. आणि त्या अनुषंगाने उद्योगांच्या भरभराटीसाठी या AI तंत्रज्ञानाचा वापर कसा करायचा. ज्याप्रमाणे अकाउंट्समध्ये टॅली हे एक सॉफ्टवेअर आपण वापरतो, ज्यामुळे एका ठिकाणी आपण एखादी एंट्री केली क्रेडिट किंवा डेबिटची की ती ज्या ज्या ठिकाणी पोचायला हवी त्या त्या ठिकाणी आपोआप पोचते आणि त्यामुळं आपला अकाउंट मेंटेन करणं आपल्याला सोपं जातं. प्रॉफिट अँड लॉस अकाउंट आपल्याला इझिली ॲक्सेस होतो. त्यामुळं एकाच वेळेला एक गोष्ट घडल्यानंतर त्याचे परिणाम वेगवेगळ्या फॅकल्टीजमध्ये पोचणं हे जे एक आगळं वेगळं तंत्रज्ञान आहे ते बँकांनी ॲडॉप्ट केलं, म्हणून बँकांचं काम आज खूप सोपं झालं. पूर्वींच्या काळी एका लेजरमध्ये एंट्री केल्यानंतर त्याच्या प्रतिक्रिया ज्या ज्या लेजर्समध्ये उमटायला हव्यात त्या त्या लेजर्समध्ये ते पान उघडून तिथे हाताने ती नोंद केली जायची. पण आता या डिजिटल तंत्रज्ञानाचा वापर करून जे कॉम्प्युटरायझेशन ज्याला आपण म्हणतो, त्यामधून एका ठिकाणी एखादी एंट्री झाल्यानंतर अन्य लेजर्समध्ये त्याचे सगळे परिणाम आपोआप पोचतात. हा तंत्रज्ञानाचा फायदा आहे. त्यामुळं 4 व्यक्ती जे काम करत होत्या ते आज एका व्यक्तीच्या माध्यमातून सहज साध्य होतं. हीच गोष्ट जर उद्योगांमध्ये अंमलात आली तर उद्योग अधिक गतिशील होतील, त्यांच्या निर्मितीवरती त्याचा परिणाम होईल. अर्थात तो चांगला परिणाम असेल, उत्पन्न वाढ होईल आणि अर्थातच मग त्या मालाची विक्री आणि त्यातून मिळणारं उत्पन्न या सगळ्यामध्येच वाढ होईल. या दृष्टिकोनातून सर्वात महत्त्वाचं म्हणजे एंटरप्राइज रिसोर्स प्लॅनिंग या सॉफ्टवेअरचा उद्योगांसाठी अत्यंत महत्त्वपूर्ण वापर केला जातो, ज्याला ERP असं म्हटलं जातं. आपल्या देशाचे पंतप्रधान सन्माननीय नरेंद्रजी मोदी यांनी डिजिटल भारत विकसित भारत हे घोषवाक्य दिलं. त्यामुळं डिजिटलायझेशन, कॉम्प्युटरीकरण म्हणजे संगणकीकरण आणि सर्वात महत्त्वाचं म्हणजे या आधुनिक तंत्रज्ञानाचा वापर करून कामातली सुलभता याने काम तर गतिशील होतंच, पण विकास आपल्या आवाक्यात येतो. आणि म्हणूनच 2047 साली भारताच्या स्वातंत्र्याला 100 वर्ष पूर्ण होत असताना विकसित भारताचं स्वप्न हे डिजिटल भारताच्या माध्यमातूनच पूर्ण होईल, हा पंतप्रधानांचा विश्वास. आणि त्या अनुषंगानं एक्सपोनॉमिक्स इव्हेंट्स प्रायव्हेट लिमिटेड या संस्थेनं हे एक वेगळं पाऊल उचललं, जे आपल्या सर्व उद्योजकांसाठी अत्यंत महत्त्वपूर्ण ठरू शकतं असा विश्वास आहे. त्यामुळे त्या अनुषंगानं आजपासून सुरू झालेल्या ERP औद्योगिक प्रदर्शनामध्ये आपण विविध मान्यवरांचे या क्षेत्रातले विचार, त्यांचं मार्गदर्शन जाणून घेणार आहोत. त्याचबरोबर या क्षेत्रातल्या वेगवेगळ्या पॅनल्सबरोबर डिस्कशन करून आपण त्यामधल्या अधिक खाचाखोचा समजून घेत स्वतः अधिक सक्षम, सजग होण्याचा प्रयत्न करणार आहोत, जेणेकरून आपला उद्योग अधिक विस्तारित होईल आणि अर्थातच आपला विकास, आपल्याबरोबर आपल्या परिसराचा, आपल्या उद्योगाचा, आपल्या देशाचा विकास आपल्या आवाक्यात येईल. या अनुषंगानं आजपासून सुरू होत असलेल्या या प्रदर्शनात आजचं पहिलं सत्र आणि पहिलं पुष्प गुंफण्यासाठी या ठिकाणी उपस्थित आहेत कपिल गिरोत्रा. जोरदार टाळीने आपण कपिलजींचं स्वागत करूया. कपिल गिरोत्रा हे भारत बिल पे लिमिटेडचे B2B प्लॅटफॉर्म अँड स्ट्रॅटेजी याचे बिझनेस हेड आहेत. सर्वात महत्त्वाचं म्हणजे B2B प्लॅटफॉर्म आणि स्ट्रॅटेजी विभागाचं ते नेतृत्व करत असून बँका, विविध प्लॅटफॉर्म्स आणि एंटरप्राइज सिस्टीम्स यांना जोडणारी इंटरऑपरेबल पेमेंट इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर उभारण्याचं कार्य ते करतात. आपल्या सगळ्यांना या गोष्टीची कल्पना असेल की आजकाल 10 रुपयाची पानपट्टीवरती एखादी वस्तू खरेदी केल्यानंतरसुद्धा आपल्या हातातला मोबाईल काढून जीपे केलं जातं. एखाद्याच्या खिशात 10 रुपये जरी नसले तरीसुद्धा प्लास्टिक मनीसुद्धा आता मागे पडला आहे. इतकी ही सेवा अधिक सुलभ आणि गावागावापर्यंत पोचली आहे. आणि त्याचं श्रेय अशासारख्या व्यक्तिमत्वांना जातं, कारण त्यांनी गावातल्या कमी शिक्षित माणसाला सुद्धा पैशांची देवघेव अधिक सोपी करण्याची सुविधा उपलब्ध करून दिली. हा एक प्रकारचा विकास आहे. ही एक प्रकारची गतिमानता आहे आपल्या व्यवहारातली. आणि अशी व्यवहारातली गतिमानता जेव्हा उद्योगामध्ये येते तेव्हा उद्योगाचं विस्तारीकरण आपोआप होतं. त्यामुळं पेमेंट्स आणि प्लॅटफॉर्म स्ट्रॅटेजिक क्षेत्रातील सखोल अनुभवाच्या जोरावर व्यवसायांसाठी आधुनिक उपाययोजना विकसित करण्यावर कपिलजी हे लक्ष केंद्रित करतात, ज्यामुळं कार्यक्षमतेमध्ये वाढ होते. आता हे नेमकं कसं साधतं ते आपण त्यांच्याकडूनच जाणून घेऊया. पण अर्थात त्या अगोदर आज या कार्यक्रमामध्ये कपिल गिरोत्रा यांचं मनःपूर्वक स्वागत. एक्सपोनॉमिक्सच्या वतीनं या ठिकाणी उपस्थित प्रशांत गायकवाडजी, आपल्याला विनंती आहे आपण कपिलजींचं स्वागत करावं. छोट्या छोट्या गोष्टींमधून खूप काही मोठं साध्य करता येतं, याचं मूर्तिमंत उदाहरण म्हणजे अर्थातच आपलं बिल पे सेंटर. B2B प्लॅटफॉर्म्स अँड स्ट्रॅटेजी NBBLचे बिझनेस हेड कपिल गिरोत्रा आज आपल्याला या ठिकाणी त्यांच्या अनुभवात सहभागी करून घेणार आहेत. कपिलजी, आपलं एक्सपोनॉमिक्सच्या वतीनं या ठिकाणी मनःपूर्वक स्वागत. अँड नाऊ द स्टेज इज युअर्स. Thank you. Yeah, we'll arrange. We are arrange it. Don't worry. Yes. Yes. So if everybody allows, we will stay for 5 more minutes. So that okay, we'll arrange.
Hello. Thank you. So by the time I was just wanting to understand what do we do, so the flavor of the audience. So who are ERPs, who are SIs, who are businessmen, what are the objectives which we are trying to achieve, so that I customize the presentation accordingly. Can I have a little flavor, please? सर आप बैठ के भी बोल सकते हैं, जस्ट कि
Yeah. So should I repeat?
No, sir.
Okay.
Please continue.
So the gentleman has introduced your company, Bharat Connect, that it is a very beautiful platform. It interconnects various other ERP solutions on a single platform, and I believe this is a boon for our ERP market. So best of luck for you. Thanks.
Great, sir. Thank you so much. In fact, you have covered half of my presentation already. Other people. Who do you represent? So is it a ER, please? Okay.
So what we do is we connect, our software connects with different ERPs, and it gives you the ability to create agents, and these agents can carry out various tasks on your behalf.
Great.
We are a startup, and we are exhibiting in this expo. I would love to know what Bharat Connect can do for us, and that's the objective of attending this session.
Great. So I know gentlemen sitting over here, they are manufacturers. Please, sir, you.
Sukumaran. Hello, hi, good afternoon. My name is Saudut, and we are representing company called Ecorex Global. We also are ERP implementers. We are working with Odoo. We are the Odoo partners, and we have a stall here. So we are very curious to understand what Bharat Connect is for businesses.
So till now I've understood it is ERP players or system integrators with a AI flavor or manufacturers sitting over here. Somebody from there can also please suggest, so that then we orient it accordingly.
Hi, myself Anand Patni. I represent Anant National University, Ahmedabad. I have my colleague Rohit, Brijesh, and Tausib. So we are using the ERP as of today, and we are also here to learn how the ERPs are getting developed as of today's scenario, how AI is disrupting the ERP market, so we can adopt the best practices from the world and use the same thing in our university.
So what is next stage of ERPs? This is something which also requires attention from that side, please. Consulting.
We are consulting organization who are specialized in ERP as well as fintech implementations. And so with our customers, we provide end-to-end solutions starting from the assessments till the implementation and support.
So what is in it for the implementation, companies or system integrators again, is something is also I think I would cover. Any other specific need which is not amongst these, you can just, highlight. Yeah, please.
I wanted to know how the complications into an ERP, which happen day to day, for the ground people who are working into ERP, how, for example, we have 100 employees, right? We have people from finance, we have people from procurement. Everyone is not that tech aligned. Everyone is not that good with tech. So ERP in itself sounds very complex. So how are we supposed to tap into it, and how are we supposed to make sure that every employee hands it in really well way, so the operations of the company are actually working well and there is an actual impact?
Okay. So this is a different flavor.
Okay.
What you are, no, there is no answer. I am just, paraphrasing your, statement, which says that how to make the interface more user-friendly so that it is easy to adopt. In this space, Bharat Connect, while I'll start my presentation, I'm just waiting for, some more people to join in. Sir, is somebody very sorry to, ask you? I just want that, each and everybody understand this is a revolution which is coming up, and we should be aware and also see if in case we want to adopt. Offline, I'm saying, is UPI has transformed the consumer payment system. We are also an NPCI platform, and we are here to try and disrupt, transform the B2B space. So everybody who joins in will benefit. I have requested the organizers to check for the people. So I'm just engaging in between. So yeah, to your point, user interface. We as DPI, which is Digital Public Infrastructure, are a backend. So user interface continue to belong to the ERPs. This is not a space wherein we are entering. However, we have best practices which we can share. I'll try to cover that as well. So any other flavor which, sir, you would want to say something as organizers?
Hi, good afternoon. I am Dr. Prakash Munde. I am representing Green Solution and GreenX Environmental. I am looking after laboratory operations, and we are ERP implementers. And presently we are in a budding stage. We are making ourselves educated regarding this. So I'm new to this field, but I'm trying to upgrade my knowledge.
So education and what's new again.
Yeah.
I think I should start. Whoever wanted to come would have come. I'll just wait for the organizers to come again and see. Or should I start, sir? Huh? Great. Since this is a small unit, am I audible without the, Yes. This is an additional, comfortable. Okay. I'll keep it in my hand then. There are two things in my hand now. Okay. So, first of all, my compliments to the organizers to create something like this, which is, I think, the first time, ERP Expo is happening. I'm sure, there is a journey which the organizers have to complete and make it more popular. It's the first attempt, and very humbled and honored to be part of the August gathering over here. Let me now tell you that in the next 30 minutes, what are we going to cover? Okay, so who we are, what are we solving, what is Bharat Connect for Business, and how is it relevant for you? And that is the reason I just wanted to understand who we are. So as a manufacturer, as a system integrator, as a ERP, as a AI native ERP, what is in it for us? That is something which I would be definitely covering in the next 30 minutes. So who are we? You are aware that NPCI as a group, we have been trusted. Yeah, that would be helpful. Thank you. So since this is the learning phase of the organizers, please allow. How to on? Am I audible, sir? Okay. So, NPCI as a group, we have been trusted to create various digital public infrastructures, such as UPI, such as IMPS, FASTag, RuPay, Bharat Connect. So these names, I don't think need any introduction. We have, done together. The ecosystem has changed the way payments are happening in India today. The numbers are there to, talk. So what's going to happen now is that, see, this is a 3x6 grid, 2x3 grid, wherein person to person UPI, person to business, something like UPI again, P2M transactions, or Bharat Connect transactions, person to government, like FASTag, right? In the same manner, there are different areas which the NPCI group has covered to make revolution. However, now the focus has been to the business to business payments. This is a space, and you will realize, and I'll cover next. This cell has many friction, and there is a big cost to the nation because of the system, the inefficiencies in this particular sector. What are those inefficiencies? Today, 1 out of 4 invoices which are getting exchanged need manual interventions because there is some modification, something or the other which is happening. There is a delayed receivable problem of 7 lakh crore in India today. 30 to 40% of the time of an entrepreneur, businessman or finance team goes in recon. Okay, who has sent the invoice? Where is the payment? Has the delivery been done? Is the payment received? What are the due days? So on and so forth. And then there is a 60 lakh crore of credit and financing gap in India. This is the friction which we see every year happening. Now let's make it more real. Okay, let me give you example. So there is a Dinesh and there is a Ramesh, a supplier and a buyer. So what happens is Ramesh orders on phone, WhatsApp, mail, courier, and the other person then upload it manually because there is a L1 digitization in India. ERP is digitized, however behind it is all manual, right? Then Dinesh sends multiple reminders, be it any channel, to Ramesh that, sir, the due date has come, please pay me. Now the payment happens, but that payment happens where, how, partial, full. This is B2B. There are various ways in which the payment is going to happen. Now, how is that payment happened? Has the payment received or not? This is the recon issue, which is next. This guy, the supplier, the buyer, now receive multiple reminders and then, collate it together and start paying. And at the end of the day, the buyer or the supplier do not have that digital trail wherein he can show that there is a genuine transaction happening, it is acknowledged, and the lenders can have more ways to lend. There is more data for better underwriting. So all that is the friction in India today. Let me, now show a 2-minute video wherein we can explain more, and then I'll voice, please.
Does even more. But today, invoices, payments, and reconciliation often sit across different systems. The seller raises an invoice in their ERP. The buyer processes it in another system. Payment happens separately through banking or other channels, and reconciliation often manual. This creates delays, extra follow-ups, and brings operational inefficiency. Now imagine both buyer and seller operating on the same connected digital infrastructure. One system that digitally connects seller ERP, buyer ERP, banks, and lending partners. This is Bharat Connect for Business by NPCI Bharat Bill Pay Limited, India's digital public infrastructure simplifying B2B trades and payments. Here's how it works. Invoices flow directly from the seller's ERP to the buyer. Payments are made digitally. Reconciliation happens automatically within both parties' accounting systems. Both sides see the same status in real time on the same infrastructure. No manual matching, no duplicate entries, no uncertainty. The result? Payments and collection gets faster and smarter. Reconciliation becomes real time. Operational cost reduces. Better working capital visibility. Standardized one view of data to enable financing for business. All this with built-in compliance. Bharat Connect for Business is already live across top ERPs and banks for all businesses, be it small, medium, or large enterprises. Contact your existing ERP provider or banking partner to activate Bharat Connect for Business today.
So with this, let me revisit the journey of our, Ramesh and Dinesh, how it would look like once they are on B2B. So Dinesh generates the invoice. Hello. Yeah. Dinesh generates the invoice on his ERP and automatically is reflected on Ramesh ERP, real time. And there is no mismatch because this is API, right? Then the standardized workflow, due date nudges, comes to Ramesh itself, by in itself, and there is a reminder. If in case he wants to see, 3 days, 4 days before the due date, he can set that up and he will know that, these are the payments which are going to happen in the next 1 week or so that he can arrange cash flows. Then the cash flow visibility increases. So for a ERP, there is a better visibility of what is the account receivable and what is the account payable. With this, you have better understanding of if in case he would receive or want any loans. So till now, banks and ERPs, they can publish, or NBFCs for that matter, they can publish, sir, if in case you require anything, we are having these options for you. But with now, it becomes more intelligent. You know that this particular buyer has to make a particular payment in the next, say, 17 days, and his receivables are in negative now. So for 20 days, 25 days, he is short of, say, 20 lakh rupees or 2 crore rupees. With that intelligence, you nudge him at the point of making payment. So better possibilities that wherever this particular integration has happened, the customer will, take that decisions over there. And once he is comfortable, he is aware that, okay, whenever I need to do a payment, it would be available, right? Say, for example, for a bank, wherever at the time of payment decision, the invoice is there, then the payment will also happen from there. In the same manner, ERPs, NBFCs, everybody gets to gain because they are part of the connected system. So, like the last point I mentioned, buyer validated invoices. Even if in case today a lender or NBFC wants to lend, they do not have the understanding that that particular transaction is true. Is there a validated invoice? is the other side, there in, so, that validation happens. So, Bharat Connect is sector, size and segment agnostic. Even a micro MSME or medium or large corporate, everybody can use it. How? Say, for example, let me talk about ordering and invoicing. So while for a MSME, the invoice sent from and received directly on the ERP system is there. However, for a large corporate, direct connection with all the vendor and distributor is very, very important. So for a ERP player who is playing the role of, interacting with a large corporate or a small merchant, Bharat Connect brings value which are, across, agnostic. Again, on payment and settlement, while this particular person has a cash flow visibility, there is an invoice tag payment, there is a real-time sync. On the other side, on the large corporate, it is all payment mode which are available to him with one integration. And of course, auto reminders built in. He is aware that his cash flow situation, next 30 days, next 40 days, how is that place? The CFO every day spends quite some time on this only. Then let's talk about recon. So manual error, record mismatch is not there. This is immutable data. The way it has been sent from one place would be received on the other place, right? So that becomes history. And then of course, auto reconciliation, ARAP, operation cost reduces for large corporates. On credit, of course, there is a single transaction view enabling financing. And there, the corporate sometimes needs that, there is an unlock of supplier, distributor, supply chain, wherein they can buy more from him. And that is something which is, enabled by the large corporate sometimes by ensuring supply chain financing. So those kind of models can run on it. So once a ERP is on Bharat Connect and is, available across, these things also become easy. In other words, of course, like I mentioned, ordering, invoicing, payment, and these four we, spoke. So what is the 5 pillars of Bharat Connect? Interoperability, which is any ERP, any bank, any entity data, no bilateral integrations are required. Once a particular ERP is connected to us. So for example, a wild, example of, say, for example, a business on Tele, a business on Zoho, a business on SAP, a business on Microsoft, anybody, or a business on EaseBuzz. So these people, once they are connected to B2B, they are connected to everybody else and they can start exchanging information. Standardization. So every ERP has its own way how, say, invoice in being created. But all that has been settled. There is a standardization which has been done. Wherever we integrate, whatever data is there is reflected on the other format on the other side. So that standardization has been, done. Ease of access, of course, is a single interface now. You can connect with everybody. We, as DPI, are open and neutral. We are meant to be a public highway wherein all kind of cars, scooters, cycles can come and run. There is a benefit which we want to, give to everybody. It is not exclusive, not, limited to the bigger players only. Everybody who has the capability to bring good products to the customer can, utilize this highway. And of course, being a DPI, there is a trust which we break in. That is, of course, for sure. So again, what are we and what are we not? This is something which is, to be understood very well. So we are an interoperable invoice exchange platform, Recon Engine, RBI approved infrastructure, safe, secure, real-time information, which is, flowing. So we enhance the value of ERPs, banks, payment platforms, which are connected to us. We are not an application, a website, a customer front end, which any customer wants to adopt. We are behind the existing front ends. We are not a ERP. We are not a business system. We are somebody who is connecting different ERPs, business system, bank, lenders, financiers, as a backend. So customer ownership remains to be with the customers, or with the front ends. That is something which is very important. So your application becomes stronger. Now, what is in it for the ERPs? Let's talk about it, or any business front end. So there is an enhanced, customer stickiness. The daily platform usage increases. It's not the accounting system which you at the end of the week goes and upload, everything while file is managing everything else. It is the system wherein one invoice is received, you can see it now. A payment done, both the sides can see it, that this is the payment, this is the invoice. You can select one invoice, multiple invoice, one item in an invoice, partial invoice payment. Everything is something which is possible. Today what is happening is all the recon is happening FIFO, right? Okay, this customer has to give me say 1 crore and he has given me 90 lakhs, or 10 lakh is remaining. But with this capability, it is sharper in terms of you also know which invoice, which item number, how much percentage of payment, because B2B is all about different flavors, This item we will pay once the goods is received. This item we will pay once, the testing is done. So all those things can be managed, and we as businesses are more aware what is spending, what is not, and accordingly, work on the items which are needed by the other side, and of course, do the transaction, complete the transaction. Differentiated offering. With this particular backend, you can imagine what kind of value you are bringing to the customer, and hence whoever is on B2B, get to gain. Increase the lifetime value of the customer, of course, once you have so much and the customer is habitual of, using this on your platform, the value increases, customer remain with you. He will now also get into value-added services which you can give because you have higher visibility, be it financing, be it dashboard, be it AR, AP, be it cash flow, be it treasury management, or AI for that particular matter. So for AI specifically, what is the need? I just mentioned that in India, there is a L1 digitization wherein your ERP is working very well. However, everything behind it is manual. When it is manual, there is a chances of errors, right? Or there is an extra check which is required. With this kind of immutable system, your the data becomes stronger, safer, secure, and also true in particular sense. And hence your AI, which is to be operated, or is the source is this particular data, becomes better. So that is a very unique value. Without, I would suppose, a B2B integration, the AI engines, how much work you have to do in that particular data differs. So that cost also reduces. Interoperability, like I already mentioned, that we are a public highway, everybody can use, so we are inclusive, and DPI trust is there. Now for the SIs, what do you do? So extend current offering, build. So, you are engaging with, say, SAP or Microsoft, Odoo, somebody was from Odoo. So what will happen is you build Bharat Connect modules and integrate with your current customers' systems. So incremental module means incremental item which you get for your customers to be deployed and extra monetization. That's point number one. Point number two is you build once and redeploy everywhere. Once you have the stack, you have the integration. Say for example, wild example again, Odoo. So once you have done it for one particular customer, the stack is ready. Do it for the next, do it for the next. Continue to multiply this particular stuff. And by the way, when you talk to Odoo, they will be more than interested, because what we have seen is, SAP or Microsoft, SAP is already online through entity data. Microsoft, again, use somebody, and there is a plug and play which is getting created. So they are also, once they understand this, they are also wanting to join this, because there is a value which their customer needs. especially in the space in which SAP, Oracle, Odoo, and these are large corporate centric customers. So, you know, the need is there. Then there is, of course, partner of choice. You now, after implementing these kind of, you know, features, become an integral part of the customer proposition. You know, you are, it's not just the implementer sitting outside, but whenever they would need anything or you are, you know, integral to that particular discussion. Hence, your stickiness with the customer increases. So this is, you know, zills of what system integrators, implementers get to, you know. So these are our, you know, existing, a brief, you know, selected what we, you know, showed. Around 21 are already there. Around 19 are work in progress. This is across your ERPs, your banks, your PAPGs, your fintechs. That is how we are growing. And our objective is, of course, to cover the entire market. Because like in the start when, you know, some of us were not there, this is the next transformation, something which has happened in the consumer payment side. Now we want to bring into the business side, because B2B is, you know, one particular cell in that particular 3 into 2 grid, which cost nation, you know, heavily in terms of what they can provide. And this is the 2047 vision of India, to reach to a particular level, and that will only happen once the velocity of trade will increase, once the profitability increase, once the financing is more easier, because these are 3 pillars of, you know, the GDP growth. Thank you very much, everybody. And anything which you would want to ask, I'm happy to share. Yeah, please.
You mentioned AI, and I come from AI, so let me just ask. You mentioned one very important, interesting thing: standardization across invoices. Can you hear me? Yeah. So I would like to ask you to delve a little deeper. Where are you going? Are you going point by point? Are you going what are we doing? Are we going to see one format, invoice format, like we have in export invoices, harmonized, you know, things for domestic invoices also?
So what we have done is point by point. There are some 165 items which we, you know, selected in a particular invoice, which are there, can be there. Some are mandatory, some are non-mandatory, depending on the invoice structure. And those are integrated with the other side. So name field will be matched to the name field, item field, a unit field, HCN code, you know, everything is accordingly mapped. And hence, you know, there is complete standardization between the two invoices.
Okay. No, wonderful. That's a fantastic initiative. Let me commend you.
Thank you, sir.
Because that solves a lot of problems. Right. Thank you.
So we are here to, you know, increase the awareness of where the NPCI group, NBBL, Bharat Connect for Business is reaching. And of course, that is the reason we, you know, are presenting everywhere, that, you know, that is something which has happened. And the way in which a backend will increase is that the front end start utilizing it, the value should reach to the customer, and that is why, you know, we are here. Any other question? Sir, because this is our starting phase, there is no charges today. But yes, for sustenance, we'll do something. Not the agenda for today, at least. Yes, see, our core agenda is to bring transformation on the national level. So profit is not something which, this is a public highway, like I mentioned. But yes, sustenance is required because we invest a lot in technology. By the way, I have my CTO also, you know, here. So what we can, you can just raise your hand, yeah. So what we can do is, any other queries, anything, you can come to our booth and we can have, you know, more interactions. I have colleagues, can you guys also raise your hand? All 3 of you. So anything you would want, they are here. I am here to have more interactions. Thank you very much. Yeah, please. So, sir, I'll respond in a different manner. This is first of its kind DPI which is happening in the world. There is no parallel because there is no DPI. All are private players. They have created some fragmented systems, closed loop systems, but the reach is something which is very different. There are initiatives across. There is a Saudi Arabia initiative. I don't remember the name. There's a Zaka. Then there is, Finland, there is something. But that is like limited to B2G. Zaka, I think, is
It's a
a little
B2B as
wider.
well.
But, yeah. So there are different things which are happening. But the modules you just saw over here is pay to procure, quote to cash. This way, nobody has solved. You can be proud that India is going to solve it very soon.
Wonderful.
Yes, sir. Can you speak loudly, please?
I was saying it to enable supply chain finance to actually start working now.
Yeah.
That's the gap that we have right now.
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
एकदा जोरदार टाळ्या वाजवूया आपण मिस्टर कपिल गिरोत्रा सरांसाठी. माहिती देणं, ती चांगली देणं हे तर आवश्यक आहे, पण ती मर्यादित देणं हे जास्त इम्पॉर्टंट आहे. आणि त्यांनी इतक्या कमी वेळामध्ये आपल्याला परफेक्ट इन्फॉर्मेशन दिली आहे, त्याबद्दल वी थँक्स अ लॉट टू यू. यानंतर आपण क्लाउड ERP फॉर चेंजिंग वर्कफोर्स, हाऊ AI अँड डाटा आर रिशेपिंग बिझनेस ऑपरेशन्स या विषयावरती एक पॅनल डिस्कशन या ठिकाणी अनुभवणार आहात. पॅनलिस्ट आदित्य आचलेरकर, करण जाजू, साहिल मगदूम आणि अथर्व अनिल महाडिक यांना विनंती आहे कृपया आपण मंचावरती यावं. आणि मॉडरेटर म्हणून या पॅनलमध्ये त्यांच्याशी संवाद साधणार आहेत संजय टास्कर. सर्वात प्रथम मी ओळख करून देतो आदित्य आचलेरकर यांची. आदित्य आचलेरकर हे संस्थापक आणि मुख्य कार्यकारी अधिकारी. त्यांच्या मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंग क्षेत्रामध्ये 15 वर्षाहून अधिक काळाचा त्यांचा अनुभव आहे आणि डिजिटायझेशन क्षेत्रात 12 वर्षाहून अधिक काळाचा अनुभव असलेले आदित्यजी हे खरं तर इंडियन इन्स्टिट्यूट ऑफ टेक्नॉलॉजी दिल्ली आणि गव्हर्मेंट कॉलेज ऑफ इंजिनिअरिंग औरंगाबाद इथून अभियांत्रिकी शिक्षण घेतलेले आहेत. त्यामुळं हे इंजिनिअरिंग आणि हे इंजिनिअरिंग या दोन्ही इंजिनिअरिंगमध्ये तसा फरक आहे, पण त्याचा मिलाफ जर झाला तर किती सुंदर काही घडू शकतं याचं मूर्तिमंत उदाहरण म्हणजे आदित्य आचलेरकर सर. त्याचबरोबर आजचे आणखी एक आपले पॅनलिस्ट आहेत करण जाजू. करण जाजू हे क्लाउड पे आणि लिप स्विचचे को फाउंडर आहेत. त्याचबरोबर एंटरप्राइज ग्रोथचं ते नेतृत्व करतात आणि AI फर्स्ट क्लाउड इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चरचं संक्रमणही त्यांनी घडवलं आहे. 16 वर्षाहून अधिक काळाचा या क्षेत्रातला त्यांचा अनुभव आहे आणि त्यामुळं 3000हून अधिक ग्राहकांना सेवा देणाऱ्या कार्यक्षमतेचा पर्याय त्यांनी उपलब्ध करून दिला आहे. अशा खऱ्या अर्थानं ERP एक्स्पोमध्ये AI आणि डेटामुळे क्लाउड ERP आणि भविष्यातील व्यवसाय ऑपरेशन्स कसे बदलत आहेत याबद्दल सखोल मार्गदर्शन ते देतात. त्यामुळं आज या पॅनल डिस्कशनमध्ये त्यांचं अनुभव आणि त्यांचं मार्गदर्शन आपल्याला मोलाचं ठरेल. यापुढचे आणखी एक पॅनलिस्ट आहेत साहिल मखदूम. साहिल मखदूम हे प्रोजेक्ट एडिओस लिमिटेड या पुणे शाखेत हेड ऑफ इंडिया ऑपरेशन म्हणून कार्यरत आहेत. त्यांना डिजिटल ट्रान्सफॉर्मेशन, कस्टम सॉफ्टवेअर डेव्हलपमेंट आणि व्यवसाय विस्तार यात 12 वर्षाहून अधिक काळाचा अनुभव आहे. त्यांनी UKमधून इंटरनॅशनल ट्रेड अँड फायनान्समध्ये मास्टर्स पदवी प्राप्त केली आहे. युनिव्हर्सिटी पुणेमधून कॉम्प्युटर सायन्समध्ये बॅचलर्स पदवी घेतलेली आहे. त्यामुळं देशविदेशातलं शिक्षण घेऊन आता आपल्या देशामध्ये नेमकं काय ॲप्लिकेबल ठरू शकतं याचा अनुभवसिद्ध मार्गदर्शन त्यांच्याकडून आपल्याला घडेल असे साहिल मखदूम आजचे आपले एक पॅनलिस्ट आहेत. त्याचबरोबर अथर्व अनिल महाडिक हे देखील आपले आजचे पॅनलिस्ट आहेत. कॅपिटल ग्रोथ अँड स्ट्रॅटेजिक अलायन्स म्हणून ते सध्या कार्यरत आहेत. त्यांनी आपल्या कारकिर्दीत सातत्यानं व्यवसायांना पैसा, तंत्रज्ञान आणि वाढ यासंबंधी अधिक चांगले निर्णय घ्यायला मदत केलेली आहे. महाडिक अँड कंपनी या मॅनेजमेंट कन्सल्टिंग फर्मचे ते संस्थापक असून त्यांनी मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंग, रिअल इस्टेट आणि फायनान्शियल सर्व्हिसेससह विविध क्षेत्रातील व्यवसायांसोबत काम केलं आहे. त्यामुळं त्यांचाही वेगवेगळ्या क्षेत्रातला अनुभव आहे तोही आपल्याला या ठिकाणी या पॅनल डिस्कशनमध्ये कामाला येईल. त्यामधूनही आपल्याला खूप काही गोष्टी शिकता येतील. या चारही पॅनलिस्टबरोबर संवाद साधणार आहेत आमचे मॉडरेटर संजय तासकर. हे ॲसिमिलेटेड टेक्नॉलॉजीजचे संस्थापक आणि मुख्य कार्यकारी अधिकारी आहेत. एंटरप्राइज सिस्टम्स अँड डीप टेक यांच्या संगमावर नाविन्यपूर्ण तंत्रज्ञान विकसित करणारे उद्योजक आहेत. ERP कृत्रिम बुद्धिमत्ता अर्थात AI आणि क्लाउड इकोसिस्टम्स या क्षेत्रात स्केलेबल प्लॅटफॉर्म उभारण्यात त्यांची महत्त्वपूर्ण योगदान आहे. उद्योगांसमोरील प्रत्यक्ष आव्हानांना तांत्रिक उपायांद्वारे सोडवण्यावर त्यांचा विशेष भर असतो. त्यामुळं सगळेच खरं तर या तंत्रक्षेत्रातले दिग्गज आहेत, अग्रगण्य आहेत. त्यामुळे त्यांच्याकडून आपल्याला ERP संदर्भात विशेष सखोल मार्गदर्शन लाभेल. एकदा जोरदार टाळ्या वाजवून आपण त्यांचं स्वागत करूया. मिलिंद हडप यांना विनंती आहे की आपण या सर्व पॅनलिस्टचं आणि मॉडरेटरचं या ठिकाणी स्वागत करावं. सर्वात प्रथम आदित्य आचलेरकर. क्लाउड ERP फॉर चेंजिंग वर्कफोर्स, हाऊ AI अँड डाटा आर रिशेपिंग बिझनेस ऑपरेशन्स या विषयावरती आपल्याला आता या सर्व मान्यवरांकडून जाणून घेता येईल. एक्सकॉनॉमिक्सच्या वतीनं आचलेरकर सर आपलं मनःपूर्वक स्वागत. या पुढचे पॅनलिस्ट आहेत करण जाजू. त्यांचंही मनःपूर्वक स्वागत. पुन्हा एकदा एक्सपोनॉमिक्सचे संचालक मिलिंद हडप यांना विनंती आहे आपण करण जाजू यांचंही स्वागत करावं. साहिल मखदूम आपलं देखील आजच्या या पॅनल डिस्कशनमध्ये मनःपूर्वक स्वागत. पुन्हा एकदा मिलिंद हडप सरांना विनंती आहे आपण साहिल मखदूम यांचं स्वागत करावं. पुणे शाखेमध्ये हेड ऑफ इंडिया ऑपरेशन्स म्हणून कार्यरत असलेले साहिलजी हे आपला अनुभव आपल्याशी नक्कीच शेअर करतील. आणि आणखीन एक आपले पॅनलिस्ट आहेत अथर्व अनिल महाडिक. अथेरा ग्रुपच्या माध्यमातून ते महाराष्ट्रातील CA फर्म्सचं आधुनिकीकरणही करतात. अथर्व अनिल महाडिक यांचंही एक्सपोनॉमिक्सच्या वतीनं मनःपूर्वक स्वागत. आणि आपले मॉडरेटर आहेत संजय टास्कर, त्यांचं देखील स्वागत करण्याची मिलिंद हडप सरांना विनंती आहे. ॲसिमिलेट टेक्नॉलॉजीजला त्यांनी स्थापन केलं आहे. ही ॲसिमिलेट टेक्नॉलॉजी प्रभावी तंत्रज्ञान उपाय प्रदान करणारी जागतिक स्तरावरची डीप टेक कंपनी म्हणून ख्यातकीर्त आहे, असे संजय टास्कर आज मॉडरेटर म्हणून या ठिकाणी काम पाहणार आहेत. सर्वांचं मनःपूर्वक स्वागत. आणि यापुढची सूत्र संजय टास्कर यांच्याकडे स्वाधीन. धन्यवाद.
Good afternoon, everyone. So before start, तर आत्ता करंट जे ERP सिस्टीम आहे, I'll have a Marathi, Hindi, English, थोडंसं कॉम्बिनेशन ठेवूया सो दॅट एव्हरीवन विल अंडरस्टँड. तर आत्ताच्या ज्या ERP सिस्टीम कंपनीमध्ये आहे, ह्या मोस्ट ऑफ द रिपोर्टिंग सिस्टीम म्हणून मोस्टली पाहिलं जातं ERPकडे. आणि जे आता करंटली चाललं आहे की suddenly we are talking about AI, automation and predictive analytics. So I want to start with a slightly uncomfortable question that are most ERP transformation actually successful, or are we just getting better at presenting them as such? So I would like to answer this question from Aditya sir.
डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चन आहे. मी म्हणेल की कुठलीही AI सिस्टीम बिल्ड करण्यासाठी किंवा रन करण्यासाठी यू नीड डाटा. सो यू नीड टू हॅव अ डाटा सिस्टीम. ERPs आर मोर दॅन डाटा सिस्टीम nowadays because of the AI help. But the data system has to be there in place, otherwise you will not be able to run AI models on it.
What's your take on Kiran?
So depends how far you go back to have a reference point. If you go back 25 years back or 40 years back, we had no systems. Everything was on a khata book, and that's how we recorded all our, and that's how the organizations ran. Compared to that, where we are today, we have definitely transformed ourselves. म्हणजे एक ओव्हरऑल आपली एक देशात ते ट्रान्सफॉर्मेशन झालं आहे, where everyone is using an ERP. But have we really moved away from an accounting software to an ERP? आणि ERPचा लोकांना फायदा होतो आहे का, ऑर्गनायझेशनना फायदा होतो आहे का? सो आत्ता जे सगळं फोकस आहे प्रत्येक ERPचं is how fast can you integrate their ERP into your current systems. They will tell you it is integrated with as basic as Excel, or it runs on Windows, Linux, it is cloud system. Everything is very easily integrated. But how much that ERP is changing an organization? Is it actually helping an organization become more efficient? मी जास्त सेशन अटेंड नाही केलेत, पण one of the slides that Bharat Connect had was we have 60 lakh crore of pending payments at any point of time. That's a huge number, right? So that really affects the GDP of this country. And so if a ERP is not solving that problem, then you have your answer like where ERP is today.
Yeah, Aditya.
Yes. Thank you. I think let's go back once to what ERP is. ERP's main objective is supposed to be organizing everything for the company, right? It is enterprise resource. We are talking about planning. So the organizing of entire information of the organization. Why is it important, and why? That's the entire point why ERP exists. Now, ERP helps us it does help us look at the past, what has happened, how things are happening. Now the main factor that we have to look at is how much forward can we look through the data, through the implementation of AI. Currently, I see people are more obsessed with implementing ERP, including ERP in their organization, more than first thinking about how their business processes are, what they need to refine. If there is any kind of messiness, if there is any kind of confusion, if you are implementing ERP and if you are putting AI on top of that, it will only scale confusion. So first, the entire industry, before implementing ERP throughout the organization, has to focus on their business use case, how it actually connects with the cash flow and the logic and the financial logic of the organization.
So as per you are saying we should have a proper planning before implementation start.
Yes, we at least should know the systems and process of our own business before automating those.
Correct, that is the value addition.
So your question said like our ERP transformation goes to the successful, like are the transformation successful basically? So I'll give that answer in two parts. Like as an IT department, right? So if we're delivering something, if we're transforming something, then maybe the go live is our last stage, and then we will obviously have the hypercare and post go live activities. So for me, the go live, if everything works fine on the day of go live, that is a success for me. But when you take business side, you need to check if all the employees are using that system, because if you are transforming one side of business to have you make it digital, and if no one is using, right, even though the go live was a success, then the after post implementation no one is using it, so that is not a success from my end. So it will not give you that revenue, or it won't create that value. So to answer your question, it is more descriptive. It's not yes or no, but it is more on the adoption side basically. So even if we fail, even if our go live fails and that people are still using it, we can still go and fix it. But if no one is using your system, then it is a big failure.
So you mean like whenever we are implementing the ERP, so it's not just a ERP technical implementation, it's a complete mind shift of the people in the organization. They should use the system in a wise way. They should fill the appropriate data in a system. Otherwise, the implementation is 100% failure if there is no mind shift from the people. So before starting the ERP implementation, we have to prepare our peoples to have that mind shift. Because nowadays, if we are giving any additional responsibility to the people, they feel you are increasing their responsibilities. Indirectly, we are trying to save their time. We are helping them to utilize their time in a better places or better opportunities, right? So great to know that. So now we'll talk about the workforce, because that changes faster than ERP ever did. So my question to again to the Aditya sir, that we say cloud ERP enable remote work, but practically are team actually using ERP system, or are they still rely on Excel, WhatsApp or slide tools? As some of the answer of this question already given by some of you guys, but I want to hear from Aditya ji in a detailed manner.
I have been doing implementation, say I have done almost 100+ implementations. What I have seen is absolutely what these three gentlemen said is absolutely bang on target. But like what Atharva said, the planning itself is not there, right? What I want to achieve from the system is not clear with either with the people who are driving it, or either with the management who is forcing it. So that is something that needs to be fixed first. If that is not fixed, then people are obviously going to go back to whatever they used to do, whether it is Excel sheet, whether it is notebook, whether it is in mind, whether it is nowhere, right? So it is always going to be that scenario. So everybody touched upon some portion of the answer of this question. Again, the ERP should not become another Excel, right? ERP has much more capabilities than an Excel sheet, right? So we have to utilize those capabilities, those strength of it to bring out betterment in our business. So Excel is not bad.
Correct.
Right? Excel has its own limitation.
Limitation.
As I always say, that no system is bad. It's only the people who are going to use that tool are going to decide whether that system is success or failure.
Correct.
Right? It's always going to be like that way.
Got you.
I think any system should take care of a couple of things. ERP today mostly are focusing on either the audit part of it or the compliance part of it. But I think other important points to note here are along with compliance, you should have very good communication. You should have very good governance, ease of use. And like the workforce has to be at the center of it. See, WhatsApp, email, whatever it is, they are a mode of communication that people find very easy to use. So if ERP has to replace something like that, it has to take that ease of use and integrate into its own system. Right now we put ERP at the center, whereas it should be the organization at the center of everything, right? ERP is just doing its job of making sure that everything works for the benefit of the organization. So that is my 2 cents about it. And to answer your question, I think we are still on WhatsApp and email. With the advent of SaaS industries, SaaS companies, and now in today's AI world, slowly we are connecting everything to ERP and trying to have various modules around ERP. Like we'll have a CRM, we'll have a CMS, we will have some delivery operation or supply chain management software, which is communicating to ERP through APIs and stuff like that. That's also an okay way, I feel. But if an ERP has to actually work for an organization, it has to be at the crux of everything.
So taking this on, he mentioned the workforce being the center. I think essentially, if you look at it, humans naturally are resistant to change. Maybe every time it's the convenience that they choose. So we need to first, there's a very famous framework in startups these days. It's called jobs to be done. So you need to understand what is the job for which anything is going to be used. A car's job is to take you from place A to place B. Now adding luxury to it, adding features to it is add-on. It's not the baseline, it's not the core product. So entirely going back to the basics, going back to the fundamentals, everybody has to think, who is the user? Human is the user, and we have to build for humans, workforce. So what happens is, whatever is convenient, in this case, WhatsApp is convenient because it is a part of their daily life. So now if you look at all the exhibitors, most of them who are talking about task management, attendance, payroll, automations, you'll see a word WhatsApp. Everybody is integrating WhatsApp. Because you are trying to be a part, that is the conversion. There is less friction. You want user adoption to be high. You want them to spend more time on your tool. So you are now, the friction at core, the friction is being reduced. Whatever, today the way is maybe integrating WhatsApp. Tomorrow it could be something different. But at core, it is reducing the friction for the user. And connecting this back to what he specifically mentioned, workforce has to be at the center for development of anything. And workforce, as the workforce changes, the culture of the company changes. With the cultural changes, the processes change. To bring in new processes, to improve the current processes, and to improve from the past. There, ERP helps. But the leaders have to be focused on what is the past data saying, and how do I look forward to this, and how do I build solutions that help me in future, that help my organization grow in future. So I think integration is okay, but the industry has to dedicate itself to, we will solve, no matter what happens, we will solve the job, for the product for what it is actually meant for, not fancy it up with some kind of features. Yeah.
Okay. I think all the panelists has gave the brilliant answers, so I have nothing to add much more, but I'll just say when we are planning this event, right, Milind sir's team, they're kept sending the Excel sheets, the updated version. So each organization had that one master sheet basically. So if your application, if your workforce is able to replace that particular worksheet, right, then your ERP or your application is on top of that. So.
Okay, got you. So here we have to keep the workforce as a central point, and around that we have to make them ready for the system usage. So my next question again here, like as most of the entrepreneur who are working using the ERPs, they are they want to automate their day-to-day operation, and while deciding the ERP for their implementation, there is always challenge which one they should go. They should go with the cloud, they should go with the on-prem. So what will be the pros and cons while deciding these two factors?
The biggest con for on-prem is somebody has to maintain it, right? And it has to have an infrastructure built for it. Like you need to have server, you need to have internet, you need to have AC to cool the servers. You need to have some person who is monitoring the servers, whether it is uptime or whether it is the security aspect of it. So that is a pretty big additional cost. Another con is because of this, you may not be exposing your on-prem capabilities to people who are actually in the market. Like your sales force might be in your in the market, your service team might be in the market, and they may not be able to access the systems. They have to connect to VPN, and then through that they have to access it. So it becomes hassle for them, right? It's not a smooth experience like people said, WhatsApp, right? So that is a classic example. Why it became so successful? Because it was simple to use, and it was always available to them whenever they wanted to chat with somebody.
Correct.
Right? So that is the major problem with on-prem systems. On cloud, there are, so this becomes pro for call on cloud. The major problem with on cloud is the cloud infrastructure cost. Again, somebody has to maintain it, right? Whether you offload it or whether you are keeping it in-house. Security-wise, maintenance-wise, it remains same, right? The cost might vary, but that portion remains there. But the pros overweigh the cons in that case. So it's always better to have a cloud-based system, whether it is a private cloud, public cloud, that is again debatable. If you are okay with private cloud and if you are okay with that additional cost, you can go with private cloud. Otherwise, public clouds are also very much secure. Like take an example, he is providing cloud services, right? So I'm taking his services, right? So
great.
I am also concerned about your data because I am anyway custodian of it. He is concerned about my data because he is custodian of his business.
Correct.
So we are too much worried about your data. So don't worry about your data and frankly be tension free about your data, because two people are actually working for you.
Correct. But
one salary.
Correct. But as a like a business owner, everyone has that threat. My data is my oil of the business, right? And
yes, correct. And
if I give it to the cloud provider, what they will do with that data, I'm not sure.
See, I tell my customers that I am not in your business, right? I am in supply chain domain. I am in ERP business. That is my bread and butter. What I will do with your data? I have no value of that data. That data's value is to you, not to me. I don't need that.
Correct.
Right?
So
for him, again, at least for me as a ERP, I might have the supplier's contact details, right?
Correct.
For him, it is of no use. So that is the value chain what I'm talking about. And again, you can always have legal barriers to go for it. Even on the on-prem servers, if you don't have that security measures in place, as a service provider, as a ERP provider, I can still extract your data.
correct.
Right? So you need to have better safeguards like NDAs, legal documents, and all those things in place rather than debating about whether on-prem is good or cloud is good.
Correct.
Thank you, sir.
Motor support.
I was waiting for this question so that someone will answer it. Then I will give a bite for CloudPay. So use CloudPay, India's sovereign-focused, India's developed cloud infrastructure platform. Anyways, jokes apart, see, in India we have this culture called, why do I work with you? I was just talking to one of my partners around 8 or 10 years. So he said, I've been working with your organization because you are there. तो हम लोग आधे लोगों के साथ इसके लिए काम करते हैं क्योंकि तू इंसान बहुत अच्छा है.
Correct. Trust
बट
factor.
वो इंसान प्लेन में चला गया, हार्ट अटैक से गया, कोविड में गया, फ्लाइट में स्ट्रेट ऑफ हॉर्मज में गया. यू डू नॉट नो वेयर ही विल गो, राइट? So we have to stop this habit in our country of trusting people than trusting the system, right?
Correct.
And so long as that doesn't change, all these questions related to on-prem versus cloud, cloud versus private cloud, public cloud, that will remain. Because if you are going for, again, a bite for cloud pay, if you are going for a SOC 2 certified, ISO certified, tier 3 certified data center and cloud provider, you know that that organization is following certain protocols, certain procedures which are globally recognized and they are being audited by reputed organizations. So you are, DPDP Act. So all of that, plus at the same time, for your own users, right? Not everyone, like there was a scam there was a malicious software where automatically on someone's, through someone's phone, that glorified WhatsApp, you could send APK files to other people and then their phones were getting affected. And there was a time in 2025 where so many phones got affected. So you have something called as Zero Trust Network, ZTNA as it is called, data loss prevention. There are multiple tools like this which will ensure that whatever happens, the security of data is in your control and it is secure. So people have to focus on these tools, on these systems, where you don't have to rely on anyone. There are multiple stories of cloud, of someone's cloud infrastructure getting hacked. And there are 10x more stories which do not come out of on-premise servers getting hacked and abused, right? I've heard these funny stories of cooperative banks where an ex-employee just took the hard disk and went away. And this has happened, and not too far back and not too far from here also in Pune. Okay, so you just have to make your systems robust and secure enough.
Correct.
So there were two layers to your question. One, you started with the startups, their preference, and another is which should they prefer. So on the second one, on-prem or cloud, so both have answered about that. I'll go back to the requirement again. If I'm a startup, if I'm a shop, if I need 3 people with me, if my requirements are known, if I have like 5 customers who I personally know, I might not be in great position to invest for an ERP. I have to also think of, when you talk about transformation in ERP, the transformation term should also be associated with the cost that I have paid for that transformation. Then it has been called transformation. So if my ROI is good out of it, then I'll essentially think about an ERP as a startup. Then moving forward, how do I use ERP, or like, do I even use ERP? If I'm a person who requires, wants to build an institutional organization where I have to think more, I have to everyday think, how do I scale? I have to think, how do I go to the next number? Everybody does, but if it is at institutional scale, that is where exactly you'll need everything to be organized in order to get the time, free up the time to even think about the future, right? For that, exactly, if it's a startup, the requirement analysis has to be done by the founder itself, then has to think of the company's goals. And if there is a bridge that ERP can, if there's a gap which ERP can bridge in a sustainable manner for that company at that stage without going out of business, in that case, ERP consideration can make sense.
Okay, got it.
So, like, going back to the question and what he said, so if we are going to a small scale industry, right, they might not be able to invest in the big infrastructure for on-premises basically. So the cloud subscription model, which works like cloud pay, right, it works in a positive way basically for the SMEs. So you can just pay for 1 month, pay for 2 months, 3 months. If you know that you're going away, you're not working for, let's say, in December, right? Like all the West is not working in December basically. So if you want to just stop your subscription, you can just stop the subscription for 1 month. So it will save your cost and it will generate as an ROI basically for you. So yeah.
But in terms of cloud, like we cannot stop the subscription, right? If we stop the subscription and if that instance is decays or they abandon that instance, then recovering that data and everything will be the challenge for the business, right?
No, there are different options, right, where you can archive the data. So you don't have to pay that much basically. So
Okay. So do you mean this is again a top of question, like every customer has, like if I take the cloud instance, like recently one instance happened in a Bahrain, right? बहरीनमध्ये डेटा सेंटर उडवलं AWSचं. तर त्यांनी सरळ हात वरती केले की तुम्ही काय केलं, फक्त आमच्याकडे इन्स्टन्स बाय केलं आहे आमचे वन टाईम होस्टिंगसाठी, बट तुमच्या डेटा रिकव्हरी किंवा तुमचं काय म्हणतो आपण त्याला सिक्युरिटी नाही, आपण बॅकअप एक इन्स्टन्स घेतो आणखी ॲडिशनल, आय फॉरगेट दॅट टर्मिनॉलॉजी. डेटा नाही, डिझास्टर रिकव्हरी, सॉरी, तुम्ही डिझास्टर रिकव्हरी आमच्याकडनं घेतलीच नाही आहे, तर आम्ही तुमचा डेटा का मेंटेन करू. तर यावरती अक्षरशः बहरीनमधल्या कंपनी होरपळल्या आहे अक्षरशः, म्हणजे त्यांना असं झालं आहे की आम्ही बिझनेस स्टॉप झाले त्यांच्यावाले. आणि जो काय थोडासा डेटा होता त्यांच्याकडे त्याच्यावरती ते सर्वाईव्ह करत आहे. आणि आम्ही अशा जवळजवळ 8 ते 10 कंपन्यांचा डेटा रिस्टोअर करून दिला, जो त्यांच्याकडे ऑन प्रेमाइज किंवा त्यांच्या अदर कुठल्या सिस्टीममध्ये त्यांनी बॅकअप घेतलेला होता. तर हा एक बिझनेससाठी ऑलवेज प्रॉब्लेम असतो की बिझनेसमॅन डोंट नो, ते म्हणतात क्लाउड दिलं म्हणजे सगळं झालं, आम्ही क्लाउडला आहोत. तर हा एक माहिती आहे की क्लाउड आहे, पण त्याच्याबरोबर तुम्ही डिझास्टर रिकव्हरी प्लॅन घेतला आहे का. जर घेतला असेल तरच तुम्हाला ते सर्व्हिसेस मिळतील, अदरवाईज जो इन्स्टन्स तुम्ही घेतला तेवढाच आहे, त्यातला डेटा गेला, क्लाउड प्रोव्हायडरची कुठलीही रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नसते. तर हा एक ॲडिशनल पॉईंट्स आपण सांगितला पाहिजे.
3 countries were fighting with each other.
Correct.
If you keep on premise, even if you are fighting with your neighbor, there is a chance of data loss.
Correct.
So the magnitude of the situation was so huge, and that is the case where you lost a data in the data center.
Correct.
On-prem systems can never be that secure.
Again, he rightly said ki cloud versus on-prem. शेवटी सर्व्हर तो सर्व्हर आहे, right? तो ट्रम्पनी उडवला काय किंवा अजून कोणी
उडवला काय, बरोबर,
तो उडवणारच आहे. आणि त्याचा जर बॅकअपच्या रिकव्हरीज जर तुम्ही सर्व्हिसेस, आता व्हॉट यू सेड, आय हॅव नॉट टेकन द बॅकअप ऑर डिझास्टर रिकव्हरी सर्व्हिसेस. इफ यू डोंट टेक इट फ्रॉम द सर्व्हिस प्रोव्हायडर, यू हॅव टू हॅव सम पर्सन हू इज डुईंग दॅट.
करेक्ट.
वेदर इट इज ऑन प्रीम ऑर क्लाउड,
It
doesn't matter.
Correct.
If you don't do that, there is no way that you are going to recover data, whether it is a fight or whether it is a bomb or whether it is a water
anything,
leakage,
any disaster,
or whether there is a mice infiltration.
Correct.
Right? तर तो प्रॉब्लेम म्हणजे तुम्ही कसाही सॉल्व्ह करू शकत नाही जोपर्यंत तुम्ही सर्व्हिसेस त्या विचार करून घेत नाहीत. मी आय विल गिव्ह यू वन एक्झाम्पल. देर इज अ ह्यूज बिग MNC कंपनी हू इज इन टू पेंट बूथ मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंग, प्रॉब्ली एव्हरीबडी नोज द नेम. त्यांच्याकडे SAP आहे, त्यांच्याकडे ऑन प्रिम आहे सगळ्या गोष्टी. वन फाईन डे देर ऑल ऑन प्रिम सर्व्हर्स वेअर करप्टेड. God only knows why, right? They also don't know why. They don't have backup, they don't have anything. They were calling suppliers की तुमच्याकडे किती माझे पर्चेस ऑर्डर्स पडलेत रे बाबा, तुमचे किती पेंडिंग पेमेंट पडलेत रे बाबा, हे सांगा मला. सो दिस वॉज द सिच्युएशन ॲट देअर एंड, राईट? बिकॉज दे डिडंट डू देअर होमवर्क प्रॉपरली. That's why they were into that particular problem. So it's all about whether you, again as I said, if you use Excel, if you use AI, if you don't give proper data input, it is going to give you junk output. The same situation is here also. If you don't actually do disaster recovery mechanism setup in your organization, you can lose your Excel sheet, you can lose your data hard disk also. Right? So that is a...
So it's a plan of like a planning, like before starting implementation of ERP, you should have all these thought in your roadmap so that you will be secured in all terms. So now I'll come to the...
Just to add there, right, like Oracle, we are building applications in Oracle Apex, right? So if you go for free version, there is no data recovery. But if you go for the paid version, right, there are multiple availability zones. So अगर इराक में आपका data center है, वहाँ पे उड़ा दिया, still the backup will be stored in the Mumbai's data center. So you get that flexibility there, which is not possible in the on-prem.
But again, on your question, there will be a compliances issue, right? You cannot store my data out of the region or out of the country.
Yeah,
So that kind of compliances are there in cloud services. So we need to take care of that.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing the input on this. So I'll come to the like a most powerful question, that is everything is AI powered. So what's your take on that? Like whether are we doing a real ERP into the real intelligence, or we are doing some part of automation and we are portraying that as a AI automation?
So I'll answer this. So basically I'm scared of AI. Like अगर कोई development कर रहा है, right? So you give the code to the AI and you ask them, okay, modify this. He'll give you the updated code, but वो कहीं पे और कुछ change कर देगा, and you will never know it. Basically, if there is no proper version control, right? So it is advantageous to at some point, but हाँ अभी जो आपका question है, like we are mostly using OCR and then that optical character recognition, right? And we are saying that okay, we are using AI, so that is like वैसे थोड़ा वो बड़ा चढ़ा के बोलने का ये चल रहा है अभी थोड़ा craze है.
Order close करने हैं ना, target achieve करने हैं.
Exactly, हाँ वैसा. So वही take है.
I think I'll give an example. Specifically, I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Question is that like we are saying everything is AI powered, right? So whenever we are doing some business automation and we treat that as a AI powered, we tell customer like this is AI powered. But are we doing a really AI enabled intelligence where AI will take automatic decision, it will give you a real insight from the system, or just tweaking with some automation part?
Thank you. So if I'm an e-commerce company, for instance, currently when we talk about, so if it gives me a report, if the weather is bad today, wherever my order has to be, it has to ship and it has to be delivered, if the weather on that route is bad today, and if my ERP gives me that report, if my AI gives me that report, it is just a report, it is just a weather report, it is not an insight, or it is not acting on our behalf to actually give solution for that situation. So what I look at in terms of AI is, in case if that AI predicts the routes where the weather is not good, and if it allocates an alternative route to ensure that my customer gets its order delivered on time without a delay, if that kind of solution, if that is the kind of use case, these AI systems can generate, allocate, and on top of that, agentic AI is in the picture. If this entire ecosystem, along with each other, can solve for real business use cases and do the action, take the action with the judgment, of course with certain limitations to the judgment, but if that is something can be done, that is already being done. But when you talk about if majorly I think it's more of automation being marketed as AI in ERP.
Yeah, so to add to what he said, and what you said as well, basically we are calling RPA AI, that process automation is basically AI. But, and he is expecting AI to be more agentic, right? It should have some sort of autonomy to act on its own, become more intelligent and more useful to the end user or the organization. Today it is not happening, but you can see the signs of it happening across multiple ERPs also. And surprisingly, even the Indian-made ERPs are making an effort to solve that problem. So how you have to look at it is, as of today, AI not there, but people at least are showing intent when they say, we want to provide AI. See, ultimately everyone has an investor relation to maintain, and you have to put cloud when cloud was in trend, you have to put AI when AI is in trend. But eventually, everyone will reach there. There are already signs of that happening and very aggressively. So you will not see it next year or next decade. You will see in this year or probably next quarter. And that's how things are changing quickly. So the ERP will sit at the bottom. There will be an AI layer on top of it. There are companies like, for example, Databricks. I was talking to someone from their organization. They're trying to solve the same problem. See, you can't blame the ERPs also, why they've not yet become agentic or AI. So in the first two questions, that's what we were discussing, that people are still on WhatsApp and Excel, and people are still averse of feeding the ERP enough data, enough accurate data for it to work on it, understand, and then act on it intelligently, right? If you have given half story, it can't work on a full story. So the slowness is partially because of the limitations that the people of the organization itself has. So if that becomes more accurate, the agentic stage of AI, we will reach much faster and much earlier than we are thinking today.
Okay, so for sir, I have another question. Like you are doing already some ERP implementation, right?
Right.
And in that you might have implemented AI as well at some places. So have you come across the scenario where AI technically giving a correct answer, but practically it is not?
There are multiple situations like that. Classic example, Tesla cars, right? They have all AI inside it. That's what they claim. It's route optimization, which is a method living in numerical methods from, I would say, before my birth. So almost 50 years before. I'm just 40 years. So
Sir,
all
told
these,
easy
I have to say that. So these methods are actually been living there from so long. These are all AI ML, what we call it as. ChatGPT made it accessible to everybody. You will not believe that I did my master's project in IIT Delhi using simulated annealing, which is a ML method. Right? So simulated annealing is known to manufacturing guys. But that is a software method, numerical method also. So this was in 2003 time frame. Right? You will not believe that whatever ERP we have a agent sitting in there, which is, we call it as EVA, which was developed in 2021 when no ChatGPT was there. So people have been doing all these things. It's the problem that now because of the ChatGPT, it has become,
easy for
it is known to everybody.
Correct.
And without understanding where I can apply AI, people are talking about AI. Sir, इसमें AI है क्या? तो ERP वाले को भी बोलना पड़ेगा, हाँ sir, इसमें AI है.
Automation कर दो, AI बन गया.
हाँ, correct. Because people don't understand where actually the AI powers should be used and where it has to be used. I was giving Tesla's example. Like the car has all the AI powered navigations and everything. So if you don't tell it that where I want to go, it will sit at that position only where there is AI or there is no AI.
No AI.
Right? So that is the situation. Like 3-4 years back, you might have heard about blockchain. People were so hyped about blockchain that everywhere they wanted blockchain without understanding where I should be implementing it. Right? So that is where we have to, people like us, have to educate the masses where to apply AI and where not to apply AI, where to think about AI, where not to think about AI.
Correct. So human intervention should be there.
It's always going to be human in loop.
Correct.
Right? AI, it's artificial intelligence. You cannot replace the human judgment, human intelligence in any case.
Correct.
Right? It is going to resolve your mundane work. It is going to eliminate your mundane work, or it is going to do repetitive work what you are not liking to do. So that is where you should use, and again, it is not AI. It is RPA exactly.
Correct.
It is robotic process automation.
Correct.
It's automating that process, so I don't have to do it. I don't have to read the Excel sheet and then create the graphs about it. I can give it to ChatGPT and ChatGPT can easily do it. Right? It is not AI. It is absolutely not AI. If I'm finding out new strand using the computational models, which is AI, then that becomes something use of AI. So So if it is giving me any prescriptions, if it is giving me feedbacks, then that becomes artificial intelligence, which I can use and then I can take my further actions.
ग्रेट ग्रेट टू नो दॅट. सो माझा नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन हा आहे, जसं आपण आता ऐकतोय जिथे सगळीकडे की ERP इज गोइंग टू रिप्लेस डेव्हलपर्स ॲज वेल ॲज इट इज गोइंग टू इट अ लॉट ऑफ जॉब्स. So will AI is going to replace the lot of job, right, in the industry. So will AI replace the ERP system in next 5 years?
I don't think so. I don't typically think so, because see, any tool which is given to you is going to help you to become better version of yourself.
Correct. It's making a better version of ourselves.
Typewriter went away and computers came
in.
Right. So but typewriter वालों का job गया नहीं ना, वो computer पे shift हो गया.
Correct.
Right. So that is how it is. We have to become innovative to make ourselves more useful
to the industry.
So AI is absolutely not going to replace the jobs. Yes, but those people who are lazy to change their ways of working, surely their jobs will be replaced.
See, basically, ERP, whatever popular ERPs we have today, they have been codified with so much knowledge. See, finally, in India, we have this concept of customization. We don't like ERPs which don't let us customize, right? So we love ERPs which help us customize, but we have to understand that behind that, the monolithic SAP, monolithic probably Indian version, Ramco, all of these companies have experted the art of making how an ERP should look for an organization. They have worked with 10,000 employee, 50,000 employee organization to develop something like Ramco, 100,000, 500,000 employee company. And that's how SAP came into being. And you are getting the same idea, like you are using the same kind of product, right? So our knowledge or AI's knowledge about that, it's not going to replace our ERP system. But as I said in the discussion earlier, the AI will sit over the ERP
as an additional layer on the ERP.
Additional layer, and then it will help interface between the person and the ERP.
Correct. So now we'll move ahead with the rapid fire, and you have to quickly answer one word. Everyone, like each one will get 1 point. Like I'll start with you. One ERP trend you think is pure hype?
So AI in ERP was a pure hype. That's what I thought. But since Oracle's 21,
one word only.
Dashboard as the
No.
dashboards.
You will get another question.
Yes.
One thing vendor oversells. One thing vendor oversells in ERP. What is that one thing vendor oversells?
Everything is seamless.
Okay.
Is what they oversell.
Okay. One thing customer underestimates. It's relevant to you only.
The customer's inability to accept systems.
Accept system, correct. And one bold prediction for the next 5 years.
It's going to be wonderful. Technology is changing too rapid, so we have to also change that rapidly.
Okay. Thank you guys. Thanks for your time today. We'll wrap up the session.
Absolutely, that is in place. So I know I have difficult customers, so I have to take it in place.
So what's your support from your side, guys? You are the expert over there. And how to pose to the employee to implement or use it in ERP process? Because as I am an SME, it's a very difficult to us.
Correct.
To shift Excel to ERP and AI.
So just I'll answer to his question. See, instead of yes.
Mine is much simpler, and that's why I took the mic.
I will just give me.
And we are discussing every time resolve it, but now they are in struggle.
Give the serious answer later. Mine is very funny. I think every ERP should now change their tagline to "पहले इस्तेमाल करे फिर विश्वास करे."
Correct. That is absolutely right. And I always tell you that don't force employees because they might have some genuine reason of not using the systems. So we have to find out that reason and we have to make sure that that reason is eliminated rather than that employee is changed. That is what my take is, and I always say to you that same thing. It takes time. Definitely, I understand your frustration from the management perspective that I have put a system, but then why people are still using Excel, because Excel is something very easy to manipulate, very easy to change, right? I can do as I please to do. Systems are not meant that way, and systems are not meant for that way. Systems are meant to make sure that the processes what you put in your organizations are followed. And people are always going to find out loopholes in everything, right? So we have to plug those loopholes, make the systems simpler enough for them to use. We have been talking with each other quite a long, and we have been simplifying the processes also. Still there is a long way to go, and as I always say, ERP is something like a marriage. Every day we have to work together and we have to make sure that the marriage stays on, the family goes on.
Just to add, right, अगर आपके employees को Excel में comfortable, they are comfortable in Excel, right? So your application should have that capability कि वो Excel को आपका application ऐसा हो कि it will look like Excel but it is into ERP. So we have just solved some problems for a hotel management team. उनका बहुत ज़्यादा data Excel पे था. So they are now using our application, and same with the timesheet. So user had that row, उनको rows चाहिए. They want VLOOKUPs, they want sum operator or average operator or pivot options, right? So your ERP should give that flexibility कि आप वो सब कुछ कर सकते हैं जो आप Excel में कर रहे हैं. So once they see that value, right, they will automatically move pivot to your application. So if you can visit A33 if you like.
So at core, it is friction to adopt something, to adopt to something. So there are layers to ERP, right? If there is a particular change being done on one level, there are multiple layers. So other parameters are in the picture. So if it's Excel, if it's WhatsApp, it is easy interaction for me, or it is, so the interaction and the usability to get the work done. So like I said earlier, I am going to choose an option that is easier for me. So how do you as an organization work with the vendor and create a system where they feel the friction for entry is less, but it is worth enough for their work. It has to be worth enough for them to use that ERP. So maybe even a conversation of business outcomes and their work outcomes, performance linked outcomes of using it, and the transparency into the system can help with the what the advantages are.
Sorry, I was not going to add, but I felt like, so what he was saying is absolutely true. The immutability of ERP is very important, which Excel doesn't provide. And again, showing the value, that was our first question, that, you know, are the ERP implementation actually successful? The parameter of measuring an ERP has to change, of how an organization helped ERP become more efficient and perform better. So yeah, I think you have to show the value to each and every employee, that how their work reduces. With initial hiccup, a little bit more effort at the start of it, but after that, their life only becomes easier.
Yeah, so here the final fact, I'll just closing statement. So it's all about intention. So either that person is not using that system because he is facing the challenges to give the right report to the system. So in that case, as a owner, we should sit with that particular person, understand the pain points from him, give that input to the ERP vendor who is working with you, and get that solved and make that person aligned with the system. You should use this system. But if he intentionally avoiding, then you need to kick him out. That's the last option. Because without that, we cannot make the system efficiently used in an organization. And every organization, such a kind of people are there. And even we are doing similar kind of implementation, we face every software. You bring any kind of system, you will have the resistance from the people. So we have to understand the reason behind that resistance and make them, enable them for that situation. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you on behalf of Exponomics. I request Mr. Sagar to hand over trophy to Mr. Sanjay Taskar. Thanks a lot to Mr. Sanjay Taskar as well as Aditya Aslerkar, Karan Jaju, Sahil Magdum and Athro Mahadik. One group photo please. Now we are going to second keynote today, and the dignitary is Mr. Shivi Krishnan. So we welcome Mr. Shivi Krishna. Yeah, please come on dais. एकदा जोरदार टाळ्या मिस्टर शिवी कृष्णा यांच्यासाठी. Mr. Shivi Krishna leads community and partnership at Oregon, where he works at the sharp end of enterprise AI, not in research, not in strategy decks, but with the system integrators, developers, and technology teams actually deploying agentic AI in production environments. He has spent the last few years at the intersection of AI infrastructure and enterprise adoption, and he has a point of view on where this industry is heading that I think will provoke some useful debate in this room. His talk today is titled The Intelligence Layer for ERP, and he is going to start by asking you a question that I suspect will stay with you well after this session. So we'll welcome Mr. Shivi Krishna, and now the dais is yours. अरे हे कनेक्ट होऊ शकेल याला लॅपटॉप स्क्रीनसाठी.
I'll share it to उसका email ID पे can you share it to you? हाँ 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 recent Figma. I'll give it to share it on Figma. No, no. It will not come on printer, it's online. अरे यार this is Wi-Fi is PNet. What's wrong? Kiran, can I have your hotspot, please? iPhone, no? नेटवर्क नहीं है. Just check the network on this. There is no way to get network. क्या हुआ? एक मिनट. वाईफाई क्या नाम है पता? पानव 5G. क्या पासवर्ड है? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 नहीं आगे इंटरनेट में वाईफाई दिया है देखो. वाईफाई ही है. कनेक्ट हो गया. हाँ कनेक्ट हो गया. now let me check presentation. चल तो हो रहा है. नहीं होगा तो मेरा करूँगा और क्या करूँ. नेटवर्क चले तो मैं ऑनलाइन फिरमा पड़ेगा. प्रॉब्लम है. हाँ वो सेव लोकल फाइल किया था. हाँ कैसे करें ना खुद भी नहीं रहा है. So is there another way to play? हाँ प्ले प्रेजेंटेशन विद नोट्स कैसे प्ले करते हैं. लोकल है तो अपने आप ही करना था ना. लिंक ओपन ही नहीं हो रहा है. क्या स्लैक चले तो ना यार मेरा. आई कांट सी एनीथिंग यार. मेरा डेटा ही नहीं लग रहा है. Sorry, this took some time to figure it out. I think. Okay. Are we waiting for somebody or should we start? Okay. It looks like I'll be talking to an almost empty theater, but that's okay. Fair enough. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're all well and had your lunch and refreshed to hear another talk on AI. And yeah, so I work at Oregon. It's built on a thesis which I'm going to talk about. And it's an opinionated thing, but it's very relevant, and I think this is where AI is going to go. I was hearing about our esteemed panelists, and I was also seeing that there was some amount of doubt about AI, there was some amount of apprehension about AI, and this is what I've been hearing about when I speak to a lot of industry leaders, because I work with customers, I work with SIs, I work with them discussing AI, discussing use cases, and I see where the friction is. And therefore, this is where an important talk that I wanted to put together, where I would like to put together this point of view. Now, the intelligence layer. Now, I'll put this question. Since we are all here about ERPs, your ERP knows everything about how your organization runs, but it understands nothing. Do you agree? Okay, I'll go ahead first. So, there is no doubt that ERP will stay, and ERP is the system of record for decades, and it has been there, and it will be there. Nobody is going to, in this, we are not disputing that at all. I'm not going to say that AI replaces ERP. That's not going to happen. But recording and reasoning are fundamentally different things, which is where I'm coming down to. So, your ERP can tell what happened. It cannot tell you what to do next. And I think that is where our esteemed gentleman who was here, he is saying that if a adverse weather has happened, can my agent should be able to reroute the delivery based on that. So yes, that's what an AI can specifically do. So the question this talk asks is, when intelligence comes to the enterprise, and it will come, and who will it, then the question is, who will it belong to? That is the question I want you to deliberate upon and think about. Your ERP knows everything about you, how your organization runs it, it understands absolutely nothing about it. Okay, where we are today, right? Let us have an honest picture. Enterprises are moving from chatbots to agents. Early wins are real. Yes, you're all using ChatGPT. Most organizations are still evaluating, some are using POCs, and that's all agentic that's happening. But what is also happening is employees are not waiting. They are using AI today on their phones, personal devices, and free tools, summarizing supplier contracts in ChatGPT, pasting customer data in a consumer AI to draft emails faster, uploading internal models to get analysis done in seconds. This is not malicious or just effective. It's completely reasonable, but it's also completely outside your control. This is what we call shadow AI, and it is so. Even if you're not using AI on the thing, your employees are using it, your organization is using it, and what is also happening is your data is going out to those systems, right? And you had not decided how to go, or what is going, and what is, you have no control over it. So what is the point? Your ERP, which contains structured data, are probably 10% of what your organization's full intelligence is. So companies like Gartner and IDC have estimated that 80 to 90% of the organization's unstructured data sits into your organization that it generates. It sits in your meeting notes, your emails, your Slack notes, and places like that, which actually forms part of why you are doing things, what are you doing things, why are you have taken a particular decisions. That's the intelligence behind it. That is not recorded in your ERP system, right? But that becomes part of your institutional knowledge, and it lives in people's heads. So what ERP codifies is a skeleton. Intelligence requires the whole body. So that's this 10% and the rest of the 90%. Right? So let me give you a scenario here. What happens? Let's say a supplier misses a deadline. Right? Right? Fantastic. Your ERP flags it. Right? It routes it and the system did its job. Right? But the procurement manager is traveling. The flag is sitting for 2 days. Meanwhile, the production schedules against this inventory that isn't coming, and the ERP has both facts also, but it can't connect both of them. Now here's what makes that's the incident report. But people are not sitting idle, they're not just leaving it like that. Your employees are smart enough, so they will start getting to do the next best thing. So they will call a meeting, they will call a WhatsApp group, they'll exchange this thing, then they will call the supplier on WhatsApp and they say, okay, fine. They will go to ChatGPT and reframe the supplier contract, right? And draft a new one, and you draft an escalation, put together an Excel sheet, share along with themselves so that you get the whole thing done and sorted it out. So what happened? All this work that happened, all this incident was never recorded. It never will be, because there is no system to record it, right? It has fallen through the gap between your system. Why? Because you have not provided the tools for it, right? And these are not hypothetical. These are all what Tuesday mornings in every organization is there. It's just an everyday occurrence today, right? The gap between recording and reasoning is exactly where your data goes places you didn't intend it to go, right? When systems can't reason, people fill the gap. Like we said, people will do it. That's where your data goes, right? The gap between recording and reasoning costs your organizations time, money, and resources and decisions every day. It also costs you security. Now, this is important. Not through sophisticated attacks, right? Through people doing their jobs as best as they can, with the tools that are available to them. Now, I'll tell you, just understand this. So whenever you have taken your own customer supplier contract or you're in this thing and put it on ChatGPT, GPT model has learned about it. And it can serve the same thing to somebody, to another user, right? It's the case of getting things right, but the question of who owns that intelligence layer and where it runs is what the rest of this talk is all about. So, right? And I'll focus on that. Let's look at another scenario. I call it the SaaS parallel. 20 years ago, you made this trade, right? For speed and for dependency, we had SaaS. We outsourced our processes to SaaS models. So Salesforce, Oracle, Workday, SAP, all came in, and they're fantastic, right? They gave us fast capabilities, they gave us standardization and all of this, and we gave up some control. Not everything fits into your own. Like a gentleman was also saying some time ago, we loved customizations, right? And when it is not there, we either live with it or we crib about it, right? But because this is all the right call. Nobody in the room will regret all this. But it was a trade, right? A conscious one. And it made sense that point of time. Now, for AI, the same is on offer. Every platform is offering AI on top. Use our model, run your agents on our cloud, let your data flow through our infrastructure, extraordinary capability in foundational models. Absolutely. I won't pretend otherwise. Foundational models are fantastic, right? But here's what's different. When you put your processes in Salesforce, Salesforce then doesn't become a vector for your data to be leaked, right? But when your AI inference goes outside, it goes out with rich context, rich data, which then the inference engine will use it to train itself, which then it will serve to somebody else, right? So what is happening is, agents will query your ERP, your contracts, your customer records. If that inference runs on someone else's infrastructure, you have limited visibility into what leaves, when, and where it goes. This is not the same trade. And we have seen security incidents blowing up in the last year or so. They have become viral. And these are like prompt injection attacks with that manipulated enterprise agents to surfacing data that shouldn't be. API, misconfigurations, which again made available those private structured data that the model was using as inputs. And similarly, consumer to AI tools being used. Now, this is interesting. One manufacturer that I know of found their proprietary process documentation summarized in a public AI output. Not hacked, just used. Because somebody had used that proprietary process documentation and put it in ChatGPT, and then ChatGPT learned from it, so somebody else asked for it, it's right there, right? So, it's not a theoretical risk. Then there is the case of agent marketplaces. 40 agents, no shared memory. You have agents doing procurement agent who knows procurement but doesn't know finance. Compliance agent does do one thing. So the sales agent will do another thing. All of them doing independent things because you have procured them as best of breeds from different vendors, right? Salesforce sold you some vendor, SAP sold you some agents. So I put it all together. But now imagine what is happening to you. You are tracking 40 different vendors, 40 different model providers, 40 different inference engines. Where is your inference? Where is your data going on? You don't have no control over it. This fragmented intelligence is a fragmented security surface. Now, I will not only try to scare you, I'll give you a structured way of how to go about it. And there are 3 reasons for it. Accountability, institutional knowledge, security and sovereignty, and in this order. And let me explain this to you. When an agent makes a consequential decision, let's say for a customer call or a supplier's supply chain call or a compliance position, you are accountable. Not the platform vendor, not the model provider, but you. But that accountability requires ownership. You cannot explain a decision made by a model you cannot inspect. Running on infrastructure you cannot audit. Trained on a data you didn't curate. This is already becoming a legal and governance question. Organizations that own their intelligence will have an answer. The ones that have rented it won't. Accountability without ownership is just a liability. Same is true with your institutional knowledge. Your organization's intelligence isn't generic. It's been built over years of decisions, exceptions, and hard-won context. Suppliers you trust, customers who are genuinely strategic, escalation logic that lives in one person's head and nowhere else. That knowledge compounds in value longer it stays inside your boundary. The moment it goes outside, it has been shared with the world, it degrades very quickly, right? The best people carry the institutional knowledge. That is why you work to keep them with you. And that is the same principle applies to intelligence also. You can switch your CRM, you cannot switch your institutional memory. Now, let's look at security and sovereignty. So like I said, I explained to you earlier also, the way AI exposes security is by the way you have been using it, and it's almost like innocence. You just ask ChatGPT that thing, right? And then what happened? ChatGPT learned from you. You probably put your patent document on ChatGPT, say, explain this patent to me, right? But ChatGPT got it. Claude got even smarter because of it. And we have seen those incidents firing up, right? On X, on Twitter, or something, all of them. So my question is, can you afford that with your ERP? Can you afford this? So this is what happens. What you require is an air-gapped private AI, and this is not exotic. It has become the baseline, and I've explained what that means. Organization intelligence cannot be outsourced. It is the capability that makes every capability work. This is something, the crux of what I'm trying to say to you. And I'm going to come up with a solution for that. So how do you begin doing that? How do you begin building that? Process by process? Not wrong. I'm not saying that you should put, if you have heard Jensen Huang lately, or Sam Altman, or Elon Musk for that matter, they would have said, AI should be there in every part of the system. But, when I talk to people, that's not what they're thinking. They would like to see it, experiment with it, see it working, figure out what is giving out to them, figure out where the security landscape is, and then try to scale it up. So process by process is not wrong. What is wrong is that you don't let that become, that process boundary, your intelligence boundary. Meaning that you plan for the whole of the organization while automating processes one by one. Right? So let's say if you have planned your support system or your ITSM system to go be managed by AI, make sure that in future when you are expanding this AI to other systems, you are able to link them all to cross. You are able to build a common memory, a common context graph. So tomorrow, a incident in support also becomes a knowledge base for something in sales, or something in marketing, or something in operations. So that whole intelligent context is shared and becomes part of a whole intelligence. Let's call it the enterprise brain, right? That is how it. And this is a fantastic opportunity for SIs. You're already doing ERPs, you already have those customer relationships, you already know your customers' workflows. You know where the opportunity lies for automation, where the opportunity lies for integration, where the opportunity lies for building AI, and you also have the whole of the organization picture. Therefore, you can plan and architect your AI accordingly. Let's have another scenario. Now, here is an agent which is doing its job. Now, this is my slide did not change. Okay. This happens with online systems, right? Okay. ये नेट कुछ तो हुआ है यहाँ पे. Something is wrong. यहाँ पे दिखा रहा है बट वहाँ आपका अपडेट नहीं हो रहा.
तो आपका एक्सटेंड पे डुप्लीकेट
नहीं डुप्लीकेट नहीं करना ना मुझे, बिकॉज आई टू सी दिस ऑल्सो. What happened? चला गया फिर से? ठीक है, चल रहा है. Okay, now you're back. Sorry for the interruption. Okay. So let me tell you about a Monday morning in an enterprise. So the quality agent flags a batch issue on the production flow, right? Defect identified, hold initiated, quality team notified. The agent did exactly what it is supposed to do, and it worked perfectly, right? But what happened? Now here's what the agent does not know. The batch shipped Friday. It's already in transit to a largest customer. A customer with a critical production run starting in 4 days. A customer whose contract includes a penalty clause that activates the moment you miss their window. These three facts, batch in transit, customer deadline, penalty clause, exist in your system right now. Logistics entered the shipment, sales logged the deadline, legal has the contract. Every piece of information needed to make a better decision was there. But the quality agent only knows quality because it was supposed to be quality. You bought a quality agent. So it makes the correct quality call and triggers a customer crisis and expedite cost on a board level conversation that should never have happened. This is the moment I want you to hold on to because it is not a story about AI failing. The AI didn't fail. It succeeded completely within its boundary. That's exactly the problem. When you deploy intelligence process by process without designing for the whole, the boundary of your agent becomes the boundary of your organization's thinking. Every silo gets smarter in isolation. Nobody gets smarter about the organization. Which is the same problem you had when you were implementing ERP 20 years ago. We had silos of information. And now you have silos of intelligence. When you are buying these disparate agents. And here's what that means for the room. If your AI strategy is a collection of process level agents, each excellent, each unaware of the other, you haven't built an organizational intelligence, you have built a faster silos. This is not again an agent failure, this is a failure of architecture, like I mentioned. So design for the whole, that's my message. But you have solved this once, right? When when you took a call for ERPs, you already had the best of the breed individual systems, right? And you focused on ERP and spent decades on integrations doing those. So why are you going for best of breed agents? You will get into another intelligence debt. Design for the whole from the start. That's the message. So what does it require to do that? What does this approach requires? It requires 4 things. Models trained on your own data, inference inside your boundary, agents tuned to your processes, and observability that you can own. And each of this is an important requirement. This is why we built Oregon the way we built. And I'm coming from Oregon. Because engineering, so like I told you, I was not neutral, so I had to bring this on because this is an opinion that we share. We built engineering services because owning your intelligence doesn't mean your team has to build it alone. We architect the AI landscape, train models on your data, and keep evolving them as organization changes. Intelligence stays yours. We just make it operational, right? Agentic OS is how you build the agents, your intelligence acts. Agents are composed around how your organization actually works, so that agentic OS is supposed to be doing that. And human in the loop controls are built in from the beginning, not bolted upon. And then there is AI runtime and data store, which is very sophisticated pieces of thing. People don't usually talk about it, and perhaps never talk about it in a user-centric thing because this is far more technical. But understand this is the foundation of how your AI inference works. We own it, we built it, we wrote it from scratch. Why? Because of speed, efficiency, and the way we want to control it. And we were making sure that it doesn't go outside the whole system. So no external API calls, no prompt data in someone else's logs. All your data is structured, and unstructured agent memory sits in one layer. Your agent reasons across the whole organization. All your memory is sitting on one layer, and not just the process they were assigned to. See, I'm not here to sell Oregon. We can always do that at my booth, right? But I built this talk around this architecture because I believe this is the right one. Because I practice what I preach. Now, owning your intelligence doesn't mean building a data center. That's not the policy. Not that I have to build a data center because that's the on-prem thing that happened. It means controlling the deployment boundary. You own your premises or a dedicated private cloud, a VPC you control within a hyperscaler environment. What matters is that inference runs within your boundary. Your data never transits to systems you don't control. Air-gapped private AI used to be a domain of defense contractors. It has rapidly become the architecture of choice for any enterprise that takes data sovereignty seriously. Given that, and that's the point of it, today sovereign AI is the buzzword. Governments have mandated it. Given that we have seen in the past 12 months the incidents, the regulatory responses, the question is no longer whether to consider it, it is how quickly you can move towards it. Private AI is not exotic architecture. It is becoming the baseline. Your cloud, VPC, your premises, SOC 2, HIPAA, GDR, that's what Oregon is. That's how we built our Oregon. So, let me close this thing. I asked you a question at the start. Who owns your organization's intelligence? I think now it will mean something different, what I wanted to come down to. The choice is yours. Your data, your boundary, accountable to you, compounds over time. Or their model, GPT, Anthropic, any of them, Quinn, or custom models from SAP, Salesforce, their infrastructure, their teams, and it resets when you leave. It does not compound at all. Now, this is the choice you have to make. Start from one process, owning the infrastructure from day one. You don't have to have a perfect plan for this. The question is not whether intelligence will exist. That it will. You will have. In 10 years, organizations that won't have the best ERP, they will have the best organizational intelligence, systems that know their business, remember their decisions, and get better over time. The question is not whether that intelligence will exist. It will, of course, exist. The question is who will it belong to? Not making it is also a choice. With that, I end my stuff. I hope I am able to answer to thing. And if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer them. Thank you. So, thank you very much.
Okay. I will ask Mr. Kunal Jagtap to felicitate Mr. Shivi Krishnan. Sir, please. And sir, we really sorry for the inconvenience you have to face.
I know it's your first time also, and next time.
Okay, yes, we'll take care about that. Don't worry. Mr. Shivi Krishnan was our today's second keynote person. He is a head of community and partnerships Smart Spaces Labs Private Limited. Thank you, sir. Now we have today's last panel discussion, and the panelists are Mr. Amish Shah, Vishal Dode, and Mr. Shailendra Thakur. And moderator is Mr. Anand Paranjpe. So we'll welcome Mr. Amish Shah, Mr. Vishal Dode, Mr. Shailendra Thakur, and Mr. Anand Paranjpe. First of all, I will introduce Mr. Amish Shah. He specializes in product conceptualization, development, and validation, and he is a certified Six Sigma Black Belt with strong expertise in driving digital transformation in Vedis. Mr. Amish Shah, Director at Ascent Smart Waves Private Limited, has spent years helping organizations translate ambition into structured, process-driven systems through bespoke ERP and automation. He brings a perspective shaped not just by advising businesses, but by building and continuously stress testing these systems in real world. At his core, Mr. Amish is a hands-on consultant with a strong bias for execution and a keen interest in continuous learning. We'll welcome Mr. Amish Shah. So our second panelist is Mr. Vishal Dode. Vishal Dode is a seasoned business leader with over 19 years of industrial experience, including 14 years as TCS Digital Manufacturing Product Specialist, currently heading sales and pre-sales for TCS Eon Digital Manufacturing across Pan-India. Vishal has been at a forefront of driving digital transformation in the India manufacturing ecosystem. So our next panelist is Mr. Shailendra Thakur. He is a Chief Technology Transform B2B NPCI Bharat Bill Pay Limited. Shailendra leads the modernization of India's payment ecosystem with deep fintech and telecom experience. He is driving population scale infrastructure to enable financial inclusion, trust, and digital sovereignty. So we'll welcome all the three panelists, and moderator is Mr. Anand Paranjpe. Anand Paranjpe is a chartered accountant, cost accountant, and company secretary. He is a founder director of Anand ERP India Private Limited, a company engaged in providing ERP software along with associated services like installation, implementation, and management consultancy. Mr. Anand Paranspe has over 40 years of experience, mainly in finance and software. During this period, he has worked in India and abroad. He has a thorough experience in designing and handling in-house as well as packaged software products. He has himself handled multilingual and multi-currency software packages in international environment. Mr. Anand Paranspe has also managed for 4 years an Indian operations of a US company engaged in the geographic information systems. Mr. Paranspe has worked in an honorary capacity as chairman of Pune chapter of Computer Society of India. We welcome Mr. Anand Paranspe also, and now Mr. Anand Paranspe, I will going to hand over to you. Thank you.
Hello. Good evening. Okay, the topic for this panel is ERP best practices for Indian SMEs, balancing cost and capability. We have very renowned panel members on the dais, and I would like to start with Amish Shah. He is a director of Ascent Smart Waves and works in the digital transformation. So I would request him to share his experience of how digital transformation can be adopted in the SMEs particularly, and what are the best practices to work with the SMEs. So Amish, please.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. So, sir, over the last decade plus that we have spent working with SMEs, predominantly in India and to some extent in UAE, what we understand is generally businesses know how to do business, but they don't know what technology is going to be the best for them. And the problem is not technology. If I had to break it down, I would tell it is about processes and people.
Yeah.
Why? And let me take a minute to explain both of them. So processes, businesses में जुगाड़ होता है. Is it okay if I keep on switching between English and Hindi? Businesses do some kind of jugaad. So you have an accounting software, then you have an inventory software, then someone told you about some software for lead management, for inquiry management. You'll have different disparate systems already in your business. And then one fine day, you come up and think that, okay, you know what, मेरा business एक scale से बड़ा हो गया है. अभी ये existing systems जो आज से 5 साल पहले चलती थी, 2 साल पहले चलती थी, they won't work now. This realization is a process problem. So first you have to identify कि people dependent नहीं रह सकता है business. ये SMEs के case में specifically this is the biggest problem. First, identifying the processes, defining them clearly, establishing responsibilities. And second is people. So while you are removing people from processes, you have to empower people for decision making. So SMEs में क्या होता है? Owner wants to take all decisions. एक 500 रुपीज़ का वाउचर है, वो भी ओनर ही सैंक्शन करेगा. एक 5 करोड़ रुपीज़ का टेंडर है, उस पर भी फाइनली ओनर ही साइन करेगा. नाउ दिस क्रिएट्स अ लैग. जब तक आप पीपल को एम्पावर नहीं करोगे, आप SME के टैग से बाहर आ ही नहीं सकते. सो इफ आई हैव टू समराइज माई 10-15 plus years of experience in this space, it is limited to these 2 lines. Processes strong करने हैं SMEs को, and people को empower करना है. Only after that your digital transformation should even start. So yes, sir, that is how I would respond to that.
Okay. Thank you, Amish. Next, Vishal from TCS Eon. They are into transforming educational skill development, plus they have their own ERP product also. So I would like Vishal to say a few words about ERP products and educational transformation for the employees of SME sector.
Yes.
Please.
So good evening all, and thank you for this stage for I can provide my thoughts here. So first of all, like 2011 when we start our product, it is just for specifically for small medium enterprises, because more than 30 to 40% GDP is coming by the small medium enterprise. So this constitute is a very good percentage. So but challenge is that like software is always there, means like it is from last many 20 years 30 years softwares are there, people are using legacy system, people are using, but we found like SMEs having the challenges with like who are using that system, they do not have training, they do not have education. So we changed our concept. We thought for like product by vendor, then training should not be a limitation. So we should give the training, then it may give us successful, because whenever we have seen the implementation, like a 30% is the implementation and 70% is the change management. And change management is nothing but retraining concept, reprocess the system, and then successfully is happening. Then second, now like a government of India and TCS is giving the platform for SMEs to provide like a AI related, then manufacturing related process education, the vocational courses, to bring them on the ERP system. And we are providing the certification also. So that way, like that transformation happening right now, and TCS is contributing very heavily in that area, sir.
Now, my next question is to
Thank you.
Shailendra. Shailendra is from NPCI Bharat Bills Pay Limited. How NPCI services are useful to the MSMEs, particularly because you have a lot of products available for MSMEs like TREDS. If a MSME vendor registers on the TREDS platform, then he has got to be paid within 45 days. So this is what the government has taken initiative. These are services, but NPCI has gone a step ahead and empowering more things, and they have taken the whole process, like say procure to pay or quote to receipt. No? So, Shailendra, please explain what are the processes which are going to change if you use NPCI products, Bill Connect, and how a MSME can benefit from these products.
So, there are a few fundamental challenges that an MSME is currently facing and still surviving. So hats off to all the MSME and SMEs. They are powering India's economy. Although we have not done justice to the potential that those guys can deliver to Indian economy. And Bharat Connect for Business is an effort towards removing some of the friction from their day-to-day operations. And I must congratulate my colleague to call Jugaad a Hindi word, but we have transformed so much that the English dictionary accepts it as an English word. So Jugaad, we have exported Jugaad. And in that same spirit, what we have built is an interoperable system of connecting all the ERPs that are possible and feasible. Our strength as an organization is in building in platforms, switches, protocols, and APIs. Essentially, it means that we are the backend which powers a lot of transaction. A transaction can be true, trusted, verifiable, or not. Today, an MSME who wants a loan, the first question that comes in a banker's mind is, am I financing an invoice which has already been financed? That's a very tough question, right? So this platform, and Anand sir mentioned Threads, which is again an RBI regulated platform. That platform also connects with us. So any MSME who is using an ERP that is connected to us is able to raise a request for their invoice financing from their current front ends. They don't have to learn anything new. So the first thing that we have taken out is learn something new. No. You have learned one thing, master it. Stay there, master it. We will make sure that everything gets delivered to you through that, rather than inventing or reinventing the wheel. There are so many players who have done this for ERP. They have understood the businesses. Every new system is trying to say, I will be the new ERP. No, we are not the new ERP. Sorry. We are connecting every ERP. Doesn't matter which flavor, what size, shape, segment, sector, who you are serving. All of that is unified, connected, interoperable, real-time, online, always. Coupled with the trust that we bring trust to data. That's the underlying principle. Today, we are low quality in terms of data. We don't have trust in our own data. How do you build trust? This platform, the Bharat Connect for Business platform that we have built, is an effort towards bringing trust to that data so that the bankers can trust it, the financier can trust it, the supplier can trust it. So that's the underlying infrastructure. And then comes the workflows of quote to cash, where you fulfill an order and you expect your payables. Record to report, GSTN filing is a big pain. Your invoice numbers, quantities, amounts, everything has to match. Ditto for your input tax credit to come. Manual errors. Every business puts 5 people to sit and reconcile at the end of the month and is racing against a timeline. Can I finish it by 12th so that my returns can go by 15th? Some of the MSME who have come onto our platform who actually do high volume invoicing because they are in the business of dark stores. Their books used to take 10 days to close. Today it closes on 1st of the month. Because everything is in sync, always correct. There is no human error because there is no multiple entry being done. You enter it once, it reflects everywhere, wherever you are. You put a purchase order in your system, it reflects in your vendor's system, not in your vendor management portal. The cost to own, operate a separate vendor management portal by every anchor will vanish, because your vendors will be able to see their orders in their own books, not on your portal. So your vendors have to learn one lesser system, helping your cause. How to reduce the load, the cognitive load of learning itself. That's what we are driving towards. Once you have reduced the cognitive load of learning, you have reduced the entropy which is required to cross the barrier of adoption. The energy that is required to adopt a new technology has to be minimal. All of us adopted mobile phones, smartphones, social media apps because the energy required to adopt them was very low. That's what we are aiming to. That's what we are saying. MSME does not need to learn 10 different softwares, manage 15 different vendor management portals, and still doesn't know where his account receivable and account payable is. No visibility into cash flow, no deterministic prediction into what will I need in terms of capital next month. This entire platform will power autonomous finance and autonomous automation also. AI, everybody wants to call it artificial intelligence. I prefer to call it autonomous. Autonomous systems. First, autonomous automation, then autonomous decision making, and then autonomous service delivery. That's our vision. That's how we want to power India. And it is our passion with which we are driving towards the 2047 goals of the Viksit Bharat, a strong, independent India, which is economically strong, prosperous, and growing. That's when we will do justice to our economy. That's when we will do justice to our SMEs and MSMEs. And all of these efforts are targeted towards MSMEs. We are sector, size, and segment agnostic at all points, at all times. And that's what will deliver services to the real warriors of this economy, the MSMEs. So maybe give it a big hand for all the MSMEs who are powering our economy.
Okay, I'll just pose few challenges which MSMEs are facing. Most of the SMEs may have their business which is homegrown, family-owned businesses, first-time entrepreneurs. So how will they know the best practices run outside in the world? Which professional companies, they are following certain practices. How do these SMEs will come to know that, okay, these are the best practices to plan your production, best practices to do your order booking. So that is a challenge for the most of the MSMEs. Then their further challenges are resource constraints, like say investment in hardware, availability of skilled personnel at a reasonable cost. So how to upgrade the skills of the people who are already stressed doing their own work. In addition, they have to learn something new as a good practice and implement ERP. And the last is the time available with the staff of MSME. Time is too short because they are doing their routine work also, plus they have to learn transformation. So these are the challenges, and I would like to ask panelists one by one if you can share your experience and how can MSMEs level it up for all these constraints.
Sure. So instead of taking them one by one, let me talk about it in the form of a story, in the form of an example. So somebody started an iron and steel business 40 years back. They bought steel, iron and steel, and just traded in it. Then over a period of time, they started going upstream the value chain. They started building their business more around it. To what level do we call them MSMEs, and to what level do we call them unorganized? Okay, so here the biggest challenge is in terms of when the education needs to be discussed, how that person is doing. The first step I would say is copy. Just blindly copy what the leaders in the industry are doing. Second is collaborate. Collaborate, partner with the best in the industry. They will teach you how to do it better. And third is create. And this is the most important step which probably no MSMEs in India are doing. So when you say copy, I don't need to explain it. There are a lot of business whose primary way of working is finding what is working somewhere and adapting it to Indian market and selling it. So this is also a way in which a lot of businesses are actually bringing in the best practices. The second is by collaborating. You become contract manufacturers for some leading brand, or you become their resellers, their distributors, value-added resellers in the Indian market or for some specific geography. So that collaboration gets you so much insight into their, not just their product, but also their business processes. वो ऑर्डर कैसे पंच करते हैं, वो रॉ मटेरियल्स कैसे प्रोक्योर करते हैं, ये सारी चीज़ें भी आपको कोलैबोरेशन सिखाएगी. And final is create. The final way to do it is create. This probably no or very few MSMEs are doing. Let me not use the word no, but very few MSMEs are doing, because this requires that R&D spend. This requires a way to take your employees and send them to the best institutes, to the best organizations in the world. Let them learn what is working somewhere else, how that can be adapted to the Indian market, build on it, and then grow on top of it. So if I have to break down the levers, innovation can be achieved through copy, collaborate, or create. Second thing that businesses need to focus is on innovative ways of financing. So long back, many years back, as a part of an event, I got a chance to listen to some of the stalwarts of the industry, wherein they were talking about innovative financing as a source of competitive advantage. Now, when I talk about this to an audience of MSMEs, they will be like, "ये क्या बकवास कर रहे हैं? How can an innovative way of financing can be a competitive advantage to my business?" Probably this is what Mr. Shailendra ji was talking about a few minutes back. आपके क्या क्या levers हैं वो ही नहीं जानते हैं as an MSME. Third thing is your marketing innovation. We know some playbooks and that is how we want to market our products. But how do we level up our marketing game by gaining knowledge and insights from the best in the industry? So it is not just one lever of technology. there are multiple levers which specifically MSMEs can focus on. Some way or the other, technology is a part of everything that a business does these days. So your ERP or your core systems, your technology systems become the backbone, and the MSME business can use that backbone to leverage to bring up every single business vertical and probably empower their people. I'm a big fan of letting the team do a lot of stuff. So use technology as a lever to empower the team and probably take it to the next level. So yeah, that is how I would look at it.
Yeah, thanks. To extend to Amit ji, like he said, copy, collaborate, and care. These are the three things are very important. So that's why the thought process for the MSME is very important. Like they should copy from OEMs. If they are selling to OEMs, so same copy the system or methodology at their system. But how it will happen? So now it is good part, because now this 20 or this century is the good part, like standardized softwares are there which can take care for integration of all, like the inquiry to receipt, then procure to payment, and the production. I mean, now with the help of, like Shailendra sir said, like autonomous. Now, like every transaction is going into the autonomous level. That's why MSME can think I can grow up to medium scale, and easily they can see ki I can grow after IPOs. They can go in higher than the enterprise level. So that is happening very heavily, because I'm working with this SME last 14 years. I have seen like before 2017, the taxation was very much complex. Means like if I want to sell into within a MP, out of MP, within a Maharashtra, out of Maharashtra, there are 10 type of sales. So it was very complex. But nowadays, like it is a very good lever to the software companies. They can give the automation with the help of the AI and the software as a standardized. Then MSME is growing up. And third part, technology, like easily like 10 standard candidate can also easily handle the smart device. So they can also easily handle the ERP software. So I can say like easily 10x, 20x people are doing. That way I'm looking into the system.
So well, there are, and my esteemed panelists have alluded to multiple aspects, but the fundamental aspect of business is how do you identify your partner? Or how many of you can guess? Let's say from the audience, how many identifiers today can be assigned to a business? How many different types? Today in India, we have more than 16 types of identifiers for business. Right from GSTN numbers to stop and establishment numbers and licenses to Udyam Aadhaar, and you name it. Everything is there. And in that, all that, quagmire of so many identifiers, none of it that you can remember and tell other people that, hey, I am shailendrathakor.com at BCB. None of it. How, even if you are running your own business, I don't think anybody remembers their GSTN number. But do you remember your UPI ID? Yes. Your UPI ID is simple, mobile number at something. Everybody has that default UPI ID. We want to achieve similar thing for every enterprise. Any shape, any size, any segment, any sector. All of them with a easy to remember identifier, the B2B ID, which exists on BCB platform. We envisage a future where you will deal with your partners using that ID. You don't have to remember 16 digits of your GSTN. You don't have to remember 24 digits of your Udyam Aadhaar and some 32 digits of your LEI, legal entity identifier. How many of you have heard of it? Every exporter is supposed to have one. And unfortunately, less than 2,000 currently live in force LEI IDs are in India. More than 50,000 were created, but all of them have expired. We are running around an identity crisis. How do we identify our businesses? Easy to remember, alias. Anybody can remember your name, your friends will remember your name, your business partners will definitely remember your name. And that's what matters. So we need identifiers. And then we can do all of those things of copy, create, collaborate, or confiscate, which China does. We don't want to do. But yes, everybody can do all of those. Those are fundamental. But first thing is, how do we connect with each of our buyers and suppliers, with each of our business network? The nodes in that network is what the Indians are good at, maintaining relationships. How do we give a name to that relationship? You talk to a Gujarati businessman, they will say Mota Bhai. Now that Mota Bhai has a lot of respect emotion. Similarly, that respect emotion is not there in GST and number, right? So we are trying to do one small take on that, give a memorable identifier to businesses, the B2B ID. So one problem at a time, but we will get there. Thank you.
Okay. So what we take away from this session first is, what we have learned is to identify the processes and empower people. That's what Amish has informed. What Vishal has informed is how to upgrade skills of the people in your organization. And what Shailendra has given us is how to seamlessly integrate your customer suppliers on a single platform, and your staff doesn't have to learn so many softwares to get into that. So these are the good deliberations. And finally, for MSMEs, the use of artificial intelligence, the tools, and that is already there. Normally, when we say artificial, what we understand is whatever you don't have original is artificial. Artificial limb, you don't have, use artificial. So when we say artificial intelligence, it doesn't mean you don't have intelligence. You have, but you need artificial to support your intelligence and not to replace you. So the businesses, SMEs should all go to artificial intelligence to support their intelligence. And there are many products which will come up, which will leverage SMEs to compete even with their larger competitors. So with this, I would like to thank Exponomics, the organizers, for giving us this opportunity to be here, and all the panel members to present their views. And finally, for all of you, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you to all panelists and also moderator Mr. Anand Paranjpe. I will request Mr. Milind Hadap, Director of Exponomics, to felicitate Mr. Anand Paranjpe. Is he there? Where is Mr. Milind? Milind. ERP औद्योगिक प्रदर्शनाच्या पहिल्या दिवशी आपण 2 तज्ज्ञांचं मार्गदर्शन आणि 2 पॅनलिस्टकडून या विषयासंदर्भात सखोल ज्ञान घेतलं आहे. उद्याच्या दुसऱ्या दिवशीसुद्धा अशाच पद्धतीनं सकाळी 11 वाजल्यापासून तज्ज्ञांचं मार्गदर्शन आणि पॅनलिस्टकडून त्यांच्या चर्चेतून आपल्याला ERPच्या इम्प्लिमेंटेशन संदर्भात अधिक सखोल ज्ञान प्राप्त होईल. त्यामुळं उद्याही आपण तर सर्वांनी हजर राहाच, पण आपल्यासोबत अधिक लोकांना यामध्ये आमंत्रित करा. I will request Mr. Milind Hadap to felicitate Mr. Anand Paranjpe, moderator of this second panel discussion. स्वतः अत्यंत तज्ज्ञ म्हणून कार्यरत असणारे आनंदजी यांनी आजच्या या संपूर्ण चर्चेचं सूत्रसंचालन केलं. आपलं मनःपूर्वक अभिनंदन फ्रॉम एक्सपोनॉमिक्स. And now I'll request Mr. Anand Paranspe to felicitate all the panelists on behalf of Exponomics. First of all, Mr. Shailendra Thakur. Come on. One more panelist, Mr. Vishal Dode. And today we are damn lucky because Mr. Amit Shah is with us. So we'll request Mr. G. I will request Mr. Anand Paranspe to felicitate Mr. Amit Shah. एकदा जोरदार टाळ्या या सर्वांसाठी. Well, thankful on behalf of on behalf of Exponomics, all the panelists and moderator. Thank you very much. पुन्हा एकदा सर्वांचे मनापासून आभार. आजच्या दिवसाचं हे सत्र या ठिकाणी संपतंय. उद्या ठीक 11 वाजता विल स्टार्ट अगेन द पॅनल सेक्शन, पॅनल डिस्कशन ॲज वेल ॲज तज्ज्ञांचं मार्गदर्शन. आपल्याला उद्या सकाळी 11 वाजल्यापासून सेशन सुरू होईल. आपण सर्वांनी आवर्जून उपस्थित राहावं. सर्वांचे मनापासून धन्यवाद, आभार.